Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot. Ah!
You had accountability. Now, what I can...
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where, give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live at Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
trust a human to raise back wolves.
Before I would trust a human to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome back to another episode of Do Fools Agree, episode 63.
Is that right?
We creeping up on that big 100.
Listen.
As always.
Gotta be 2 years damn near, won't it?
Yeah. Well, you know. The 100th episode won't quite be.
Right. 104.
Right. It's good shit.
Right. Listen. You know it.
And you fucked up my flow with my intro. As always, I am your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings, who's cutting me off today.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
What's good?
Got this fucker with us this evening.
All hail the... Sagna.
Yep. Go ahead and say it. All hail the king. King is back in full effect. What's going on, everybody?
What's
King
going on,
Caesar.
The king needs to move his microphone a little closer to his face.
Oh, yeah. This is better. Huh?
Pull it in. Just pull it all the way in. The whole thing will move.
Yeah, who smoked didn't somebody smoke King Caesar in his clique?
That's right.
Yeah.
A2 Brute?
Is that something?
Well, this king got more than 9
King
lives.
Caesar, shit.
Oh, does he?
All right, that sounds like some pussy shit.
Allegedly.
Allegedly,
The lawyer lady
yeah.
in the booth is telling me to say allegedly.
I heard you were doing your own sound clips last Saturday. I was listening back.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, you were like, you definitely did. The lawyer lady is
I
saying
reference that
allegedly.
lawyer lady all the time. I reference her. She's referenced.
You have to.
You know?
Oh, man. So
Especially when my pop's on the podcast, you gotta...
No doubt. You
gotta
get those allegedly. Oh, man. Your pops. Good time.
I love him.
He's a good dude.
He is. He's a fun guy.
Yeah, he had me laughing in the group chat the other day. He is a character, man.
He's something.
But
I heard he was bumming he couldn't make it to the outdoor fight.
Man.
Should we tell the people about the outdoor fight?
Oh, I had a blast, man. That was a good time. That was one of the best times I had in a while.
We had we had set up an outdoor screen for the neighborhood kids to come over and watch a movie, and then afterwards, Cliff and I decided to watch the fight on some bootleg IPTV shit.
Man, had the fire going. I had a blast.
Fire, beer, UFC up on a big screen.
That's a good night. That's a good night right there.
Smoke in the air.
Weather was good, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was great until the very end. I think that's what woke us up.
Because I was not going.
What woke you up?
The rain.
The rain.
Well, I slept through the rain. It was Mike
sleep.
that got me up for real because I was out, and I told him too. I said if both of us would have fell asleep, we'd have been cold as shit in the morning.
We would have been cold as shit, and I would have been mad as hell because the projector and everything was still outside. Right. As it is, I think I lost the remote, but other than that,
For the projector.
For the Fire TV, but I can do all that shit on my phone, so it's not a big deal.
Watch, we gonna find it next time we out there.
No, I found it.
Oh,
it was
did you?
just soaked.
Right, okay.
I don't know if it works.
I'm sure it would. Rice that bitch.
You right?
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
If it works
Well,
on iPhones, it'll work on your Amazon.
and we got I ended up picking up a better projector too, so we'll see.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. Now, I mean, not for my own. I definitely wouldn't do it out back. I guess I would if I fixed it up a bit, but they ain't that expensive. They're not expensive.
They're not
as I
that
thought
bad.
they were.
Projectors?
Uh-huh.
The thing is, though, like it has to be dark. Like,
Right,
You
right,
can't do it with any kind of light. So
right.
the new one I got, I might be able to do it like as the sun is going down, but yeah, nah.
Yeah, that was a good time though.
It was.
I was
fun.
first introduced to those. Well, not like the projectors in general. I remember my pops had one way back in the day, but I remember we went camping. Had to be years ago because I was still with Michelle, and the people across the camp from us had a projector screen
Oh,
set up,
nice.
and they were playing. And I was like, it's kind of
Well, now it's even better because, like, I think I told you, like the router is basically on the exterior wall back there.
right, right,
So I have like a mesh point.
right.
So I could do anything that's on streaming. Like I could do
Right.
Fire TV, all that shit right there.
Oh, that's convenient, right?
Yeah.
That's
so it's
convenient.
and the fire stick is plugged right into the projector.
Listen, that was
I've
the
got
whole vibe.
I've got like a $20 Bluetooth speaker that we had the sound coming through because the Fire Stick was Bluetooth connected to the
Right.
speaker, and I mean the kids loved it for the movie, and then
Listen, I loved it more
it was
than the
better
kids,
for the
I'm
fight.
Sure. I'm sure, because
Right.
I was having a blast.
So that was a good time.
Yeah, sounded like a good time. Even though I was out of
Sorry,
town.
Mal.
Even though I was out of town.
Whose
That's
fault
your
is
fault.
I
that?
still like the invite. It don't matter if I can make it.
That's
I just
your
want
fault,
the
Chuck.
invite. I can tell somebody.
Well,
no.
you logged off the podcast too quick, or you'd have got it.
Was it on Saturday? Was it on
It
Saturday?
was
Saturday,
Saturday. As soon as everybody logged off, it was just me and my pops in there,
Oh, okay.
and that's when Mike offered.
Well,
the
we went
invite.
pretty late. It was all fairness
I mean-
last Saturday.
I
Nigga,
mean,
we
y'all
start-
did.
we
You
start
went
at
like
6:30.
2.5.
No, I
I
went
missed
to
the
the
whole-
half
I
of
missed-
the Wednesday one was two.
It was over. It was damn near 3 because I missed the
No,
whole
that
cookout.
one was
Well,
2.5
it-
because we went over on the.
Well, no, it was almost 3
Right.
because you left the stream up and running.
Oh,
Once I cut it back, it was about 220, 225. You're right.
well.
I thought it was less than that.
Nah, it was
No.
like
I
225.
think it was like.
No, because if it had
215.
been less than that, the whole situation where I texted in and said, "Is this in?" And by the way, I wasn't asking for the fight results. I was just asking, "Do we think this fight is going to happen
Right.
before midnight?" Because I'm too old for this shit.
Right.
No, that's clearly we didn't make it, so
Right.
you knew it wasn't gonna happen.
But I
Before
remember,
midnight.
I do remember, like
Yeah, I
what
remember
happened.
watching it.
I think we either woke up and caught the replay,
I even remember. No, I think it was before that because I think we were talking to Shar,
Oh
and
yeah.
then that was the last I remember of it. I must have just
Over 30 problems.
tilted my
Right.
head back.
Over 30 problems.
Man.
Out cold.
Listen,
it's all right.
at least it was a good night though. Prior to the nap time.
It's true. It was.
It was a good nap as well.
Right. The nap was fine too.
Well
Right.
needed.
See, as you get older, Malcolm, what you understand is you appreciate a good nap.
Right.
I love a nap now. Listen, I tell Cliff, listen, I love my naps. If I can get them in, I'll try to ask my kids to take a nap.
You
just so
know?
I can take
Just so
a
I
nap.
can take one.
Right.
Woke up by God's natural raindrops, you know.
That's a good night. That's a good
Nice
night.
little alarm clock.
Right.
So how was everybody's week? How was your week, Cliff?
You know what? I had a good week just because everything seemed smooth. I don't remember having any day that was a little too rough.
That's good.
Yeah, that last Friday was the last rough day that I've had in a while.
Well, I mean,
And you know, I apologize for
Right.
cutting you off, but you know, like Uncle Frank Sinatra says, you're riding high in April, shot down in May.
oh Lord, well,
Hey, but I know I'm gonna be back soon. When I'm back on top in June.
This is Cliff's live performance.
I said that's life.
Hey,
Uncle Frankie, what you said?
We're gonna need a karaoke episode and let
Listen,
Cliff
All
took it
American
off.
Idol this bitch.
Right. You got my vote, Cliff. You got
You
my
know?
vote.
But no, this week's mainly like a lot of weeks for me because obviously I've been employed. Mike, I didn't get a chance to tell you yet. I actually start a new job next Wednesday, work at home
Oh, congrats.
with I'll just say a company.
Okay.
That's plan A, but I have a plan B
All right.
Always.
because as a free
You
agent,
have to.
as a free agent,
Contingency plans.
As
Yeah.
a free agent, I don't want to just be stuck on one.
So, anyways, I'm enjoying my last bit of time before I
Before
clock
you
back
start
in.
up. Yeah. Well, that's good. Congrats, man.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Nah, I was like half my team was out this week, so I got
Ooh.
tapped on some shit that wasn't necessarily mine to handle, but it wasn't bad. Like,
Man.
and I actually sent a note to my team at noon today, and I'm like, look, if you don't have anything left to do, get the fuck out.
I love management like that. I love management like that. Like back in the day.
Yeah, I wish.
It was 1:00, and I'm like, if you don't have anything that's pressing and has to be done today, go ahead and sign.
And you know what? That's crazy too, because like you said, that what you just said just sparked a thought in my mind. And God bless to all the families, but we've had 3 weeks of bereavement on my team in the past 3 weeks. One person lost their grandparent, I believe,
Okay.
and then another person lost their grandfather, and then the same person lost their uncle the week after.
Oh wow.
That's rough.
So
That's a
it's
lot.
been 3 weeks of more work than usual, which I would never complain about, especially in a situation like
Right.
that. But I mean, it's just ironic that that this week went as smooth as it did, knowing
Knowing how much
Right.
people have been out.
Obstacles,
and how long it's been a fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. My biggest stuff this week was trying to get people to like talk to each other. Like that's half my job. Half my job in my role is getting people who make more money than me to talk to one another.
I wish.
Right. That's a good problem to have.
I wish.
That's a good problem to have for sure.
But you know what?
Terrible.
But you know what? No, I was
Because
about to
there's
say.
so much ego.
Right,
It's nothing but ego.
right. I bet it's a lot harder than it would sound.
Right.
But that's when you gotta manipulate. You gotta mind fuck these
Well,
motherfuckers.
that's why I'm good at my
like
job.
like Diddy said. What was that movie with Jonah Hill? He said you gotta mind fuck. You gotta get up in that shit.
It's mind game.
What the fuck?
What movie was that? That's gonna bother me. I feel like
Get him to the Greek.
Okay.
Is that what it
yeah,
is?
yeah,
Get him
yeah,
to the
yeah,
Greek
yeah.
with
See, I
Russell.
immediately go to anytime I hear mind games talked about, I go to the Terry Tate office linebacker commercials, where he's like, "Hi, Sheila."
No,
It's
it's
mind
bad.
game.
I don't know
I might
that
have
one.
seen it.
You know the office linebacker commercials?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? Terry
No.
Tate just runs around fucking knocking people the fuck out in like an office building, and he's like the motivation for the team.
No, I don't know anything.
They did
about
They did probably like
that. Is this mine?
2 or 3 different series of commercials.
Okay.
With him, and like the last bit of the series is like HR comes in and basically tells him he can't like knock the shit out of people anymore. And
It does sound familiar.
Right. I feel like we probably seen it.
oh man,
Is
all right,
it
I will
old?
say
That's old.
it's mid 2000s,
Okay.
so 10-15 years. Carl and I used to love that shit, man. And I tell you what, that's actually my inadvertent thought this week. I actually have a couple of commercials that are making me laugh every time I fucking see them.
Name them. I
There's
want to know.
vanilla, Rocky Road, chocolate strawberry cookie dough. Scoop, there it is.
He said, sprinkles. That's my favorite part. He was waiting to do that too. He was just sprinkles.
Every time
And
it
then they was
comes on.
dancing. What is this?
Right.
She was like, them
Oh,
elbows.
snap. We have to dance. We have to dance and we have to sing. Cliff. Hey,
Listen, I
full
remember that.
performance.
You know the other one that's been getting me? What is
What?
it? The Dikembe Mutombo,
Oh, yeah.
where he just like
Not in
smacks
my
the
house.
shit.
Not in my house.
Nothing in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was old.
Well,
though.
they've
That's
been,
like
they've been running them heavy
Yeah.
on. They've been running them heavy on Hulu.
Because that's why I watch my life.
Yeah.
You know?
It's one since then though. I can't think of the one since that Dikembe Mutombo when It's the same company. What
It's
company? Is it?
Geico. I'm pretty
That's
sure
what
that's
I
a
thought.
Geico one.
They got some. Geico has
Who
some
is it?
funny commercials.
I can't remember, but I think
The one that drives me crazy that Hulu's been playing the shit out of is the latest progressive one with Flo.
where they're on the
Flo's,
beach.
no, where they're in the laundromat and Flo is just a cock block to the little girl, to the young girl that's trying to
right.
hit on the dude. I'm like, Flo wouldn't be a cock block. What is this all about? She should be facilitating.
No,
Flo's
Flo's
a
not
talker.
facilitating.
Flo's a talker. She'll talk you out of it.
She should be a wing woman, not a cock block.
Right. Nah, I got the same vibes off that. That's a fact, Jack. I was not
That one
feeling
was
that.
bugging me. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones, but those, the Dikembe Mutombo and the Scoop There It Is, they just get me every time.
I like
don't know
that.
what it is.
That one, I think, Mike. That's, I believe it's Tracy Morgan and Batista's in the end. He's walking a poodle.
The what's the difference between what is it, like a sure thing or or maybe or something like that? It's something to that effect.
I like that one. I just think it's,
That was my favorite
That
one.
was the Super Bowl one.
Yeah,
wasn't
that
it?
was.
That's because you brought it to my attention. I finally
I
seen
forgot
it.
that
I
we
like
didn't get
that
to
one.
do that. We
I
didn't
like
get
that
to
one.
do that on that episode.
Talk
I
about
wanted to do the
commercials?
favorite commercial, but
Yeah.
Well, that was the first episode. In all fairness,
yeah, that was
It
my
was,
favorite
it
one.
was.
The
Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
He's funny.
I also like.
Then he get bit by a snake, and they was like, "Well, it could
Right.
be poison."
Right.
Yeah, that's funny. That's what I'm saying. That's
It was
funny.
right in the neck too. It was
Right.
like,
It might
could
be.
poison.
There's a chance. Allegedly.
Right.
What's the other one is the, and I'm blanking on what company it is, but it's like they help you from becoming your parents when you buy a home.
Oh,
I like that. I didn't talk
I
about.
know exactly what you're talking about.
And there's only one line that gets me in it, but it's he's like, quinoa, and they're like, Joaquin.
No, I
I don't know if I remember that part,
one.
but I feel like I know what he's talking about.
No, I know.
But yeah,
I know
no. It's like, no fussing, no cussing. No, we don't need that. And he throws it in the trash, takes it out of her hand.
No, the one
Or
I
the
would.
live laugh. Do we need a sign that says live laugh?
Right.
Laugh? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, no, and throws it in the trash.
No, the one where he said, and who else reads about submarines? And he said, my dad. My dad.
My dad. Listen, that is a funny one. I believe that. That's a funny one too.
Yeah.
I've been having those moments lately where I'm like, you know what, fuck it, yeah, I am that dad. It's fine. There was the dad Facebook page posted like, what's the ultimate dad shoe? And of course, my Monarchs are
The
on
Monarchs,
there.
you know the Monarchs are on there.
And I love my Monarchs. They're so comfy.
The closest I'll ever get to a dad shoe, and this is the closest I'll ever get to a dad shoe. Give me my Air Force Ones.
That's a dad shoe.
I mean, they're getting
a dad
they're,
shoe?
they're getting to that
Shoe.
point.
Right.
They're getting
They're
to
the
that point.
closest
I know.
shoe.
I know Young Bucks still buying them relentlessly.
Who?
Young Bucks.
Oh, Young Bucks. I thought he meant like Young Buck. I said that. Now that
Young Buck probably can't afford
That,
them.
that just means
That
that that
solidifies
is a
the
dad
dad
shoe.
shoe. right there.
Young Buck can't afford, I think, the Air
Listen,
Force
if
One.
little old me can afford them, Young Buck can.
After that voicemail.
That's the closest to a dad shoe I get.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like. For me, it's probably like if I wear my New Balances when I wear those.
I mean, New
I
Balances
don't
are
have those on.
comfy
These are
too.
Nike. But when I wear my New Balances.
Them is dad shoes you got
My
on.
Nike Roches, and these is listen.
Them is
the
dad
camera
shoes.
can't see them, but listen, these is
Comfort.
these are some.
Comfort
When you
Fly
start buying
dad
shoes
shoes.
for comfort,
Oh yeah,
it's a dad shoe.
I could probably moonwalk in these.
That's okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I doubt you could moonwalk. But you could probably
Got
do
a couple
something.
drinks in.
I bet you he'll try.
Right. You never know.
That's a big D&D line. You
Yep.
can certainly try.
That motherfucker can't even, that wouldn't even be a Mars walk. Fuck a moonwalk.
The Columbus walk.
That nigga ain't no smooth criminal. But anyway,
So you got any inadvertent thoughts to kind of get us going here, Mr.
I
Jennings?
got a few inadverts.
Are they inadverts or are they like deep dive topics?
They could be. So let's ask Malk if he has any first, because one is itching at me.
All right. Malk, you got anything to kick us off?
Not the top of my head.
Okay, well no, I'm just playing.
Right.
Okay, so one specific thing I saw sparked an inadvertent thought in me. And I still don't know which way I'm leaning with this. But Bad Baby,
Bad Baby, that's a girl.
the little chick from Dr. Phil, Catch Me Outside.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm loosely familiar with
So
her.
she just turned 18.
How about that?
Yeah, she just turned 18 and released her OnlyFans.
I was about to say, she just started a porno? All right.
She ain't been fucking, I don't think. I feel like I'd have heard about that. Like, I'm sure she's been fucking.
Right.
I mean, stop. I mean, she was fucking before Dr. Phil.
Right.
I'm sure of it. But I'm saying
Wasn't that shit like 3 years ago? She was only like 15, 14?
Yeah, she don't know her mom.
I thought she was younger than that at the specific
might have been.
time
Mom
that it
was on there
took
with her,
place. I
though.
think she was on there like 13.
Yeah, it was something
Goodness
like
gracious.
But what I'm getting at though, just turned 18, releases an OnlyFans, makes 1.3 million
Oh,
in
yeah.
6
I'm
hours.
I'm sure.
In 6 hours of the release, 1.6 million, or not
Hey, man,
1.6.
I
It
hate
was
to
like
break
1.2
it, like-
or 1.3 million.
A lot of people like trashy white girls.
Well, you know what? It's funny that you say that because
I used to have a soft spot in my heart for some trashy white girls.
Oh, we all did at some point.
I mean,
Well,
Probably besides Cliff.
no, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Those are the ones that got me.
right. Listen,
not gonna
something
lie.
about him.
There was one with like a K or something that used to come to our
With a
joint
K.
when you and I lived together.
Ooh,
Well,
not that was for
when
me.
when you and I lived together, no, she was a friend of somebody.
Oh,
She
yeah,
was there for
she
like a
was
week straight.
Crazy.
But I had a special.
She was crazy.
I bet.
I woke up and she was staring at me while I was sleeping. In my bed, though.
You gotta go.
In my
You
bed.
gotta go. You've gotta go.
Like I don't. There,
In
she
your
was
bed?
with someone
Like
else,
this.
and like
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
weird.
you know who
And
she was
stayed.
with? She was with so and so's baby mom.
okay, and was.
I ain't
like,
gonna say the name,
She
but
was
I
at
know
our
who the
house.
name
She
is.
stayed with us for like a week and a
D'Angelo.
half.
Right. Right. Yeah, she was crazy. She was nuts.
Oh, yeah, you gotta
She was
go.
nuts. I mean, she was definitely cute, and she had a fatty on her.
Amen.
Listen, I'm good. I don't.
But
listen.
that just threw me.
And this was
You
my
don't gotta
my
laugh.
house, and I couldn't even get like words out of her. So whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Listen,
You've gotta go.
Salty.
You've
you gotta
gotta
leave.
go. You gotta leave the premises immediately.
Listen, if she'd have stayed one more week, no.
Ouch.
I'm just playing. I was still with the mother of my
We
child.
needed a sound. We needed a
Sound effects.
I was only kidding.
only kidding!
Fuck your couch. Because I kind of wasn't.
Fuck your couch, nigga.
No, I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it a buck. If you stayed a few more nights, that'd have been a problem.
That sounds like that situation you almost had.
Hey, persistence is the key. Listen, let's not make this about me, all right? You're the guest on the show. The fuck? I know a couple stories. Now, let's not get into stories.
No, I just had the Wendy's situation.
Now I'm intrigued. What happened at Wendy's?
This person worked at Wendy's.
And I?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
This person wanted you. So this person was a fan of you.
And worked at
I used
Wendy's?
to go to. So back on the old Tangi side of town, then you had me meet you over
Okay.
at old Tangi, and somebody had a friend that ended up being fond of you. Starts with a K. Worked at Wendy's. Baby daddy thought he was going to try to say a few words. You had to shut it down. This is years ago. This is before I.
No, but I feel like you've already given too many details.
Right.
So let's
I'm trying to give you
Whoever
the
this
most
person
minimal
is, they know
clue.
that you're talking
Oh,
about
sorry,
that.
sorry,
Right, they
sorry.
know.
Sorry, time out. I'm wrong. They didn't work at Wendy's. They worked at Fitzy's Diner, you told me, at some point.
Correction.
Right. But anyways, the point that I was making.
The point
that I was making was this person was low key a fan of yours as well back in the day. I do remember that, and you had to shut it down.
And that's another one that if she'd have stayed at the house for
That's what I was getting at. So hold on, time out. So
sorry.
you do know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. And
Okay.
damn.
Yeah, because I remember right. That's why I brought it up because it was relevant to what.
I ain't shit.
Well, I could have
And
told
you ain't shit either, D'Angelo.
I tried to give you the most minimal hints without
No, maybe
saying.
I am shit because I don't never pull the trigger. Shooters shoot, and I don't shoot.
Yeah, that's true.
Shoot
Mike's got something.
He can't get
Hit
it
the
out.
button
Jay.
too quick.
Shoot the J.
That would have been a good one, except I
Man.
I had to move
Y'all got me
soundboards.
hot now. Why the fuck is this the
Cliff's in the hot seat.
discussion?
Right?
Cliff's in the hot seat.
That's because he perpetually puts himself.
You did set yourself up for that.
Well, yeah, no, I asked, and I was kind of curious. Now I wish
Trying
I
to think about if she's still there. Or
ain't worried about none of that.
The one that got away.
Oh,
we've shut Cliff up.
listen.
What happened? You broke Cliff, Malcolm.
Well, anyway, back to my inadvertent.
Moving on.
Yeah, what was the inadvertent? I forget.
So when I saw that, it just tripped me out, right? And
Oh
I was
yeah,
just
Catch Me
thinking,
Outside Girl started
Oh, yeah,
OnlyFans.
Right, and
So what
don't
was
get
the-
me wrong, like she's an attractive young lady, but at no point in my okay, so let's just get to the inadvert. So at first, my first thought, and this is honest to God, and I did backtrack from the thought, but my very first thought is, we got a real pedo culture in the country.
Okay.
No shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as soon as the motherfuckers of age,
You're on it.
we're
It's
just.
sick. It's sick.
You know what I mean?
I know
But
what you're saying.
then I thought about it.
But
and
it's
I-
also like that's a two-way street. Nobody made her go start an OnlyFans.
No, you're right. You're right. And listen, and that's exactly why I said I thought about it, because let's keep it a buck. Like back in the day, motherfuckers said that you was a woman when you had a period. You feel what I'm saying? Like you could be 12, 13 and be a woman. So now
You were
that
a marrying age once you
Right.
Yeah.
right into a older man most
Usually.
times.
Yep.
So now 18 I don't see that as a bad number. You know what I mean? For you to then be of age
Have
type
that kind
shit.
of basically to be an adult.
Right,
Or
right.
considered
Now,
an adult.
you don't know everything,
No.
but what dude does at 18 either. You know what I
No.
mean? Like I peg a 18-year-old woman to have a little more sense than an 18-year-old man.
Right.
At that point. On
Yeah.
on average.
Cliff said peg, and I just want to bring it back full circle to the last time we talked about that.
What did I?
We'll get there.
Wait. Oh.
He talking about Deadpool.
The Deadpool scene.
Oh.
He
Because
talking about
it got
Deadpool.
Cliff all worked up. Go
Man,
ahead.
listen, we'll get there too because I got
I
something
remember
to
that now.
get on that too.
I remember that.
But
I'm sorry for interrupting.
no,
your
you're
train
good.
of
What
thought.
was I saying now?
18,
18
woman of age.
Oh right, okay, right. So I feel like that's a good age, right, for you to, if that's what you want to do, to make those decisions at that point. You know what I mean?
I mean, personally, I go back and forth like 20, 21.
Nah.
No?
Because you can't baby somebody like that.
All right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, the thing is that, like, personally speaking, going through the experience and talking to other people,
Right.
I don't feel like I had a handle on shit until I was like 26, 27.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree as well.
I agree.
But does that mean that you should be babied until you
No,
turn 30?
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
And my whole thing is, let's be honest. And
But
I
those
know,
are decisions. But there are decisions that you can make, like that decision at 18.
right.
Those,
You may not
That
have
never
made-
goes away.
Right,
Like,
right.
You are forever. You will forever have pornographic images of yourself out there.
But I mean, it's the same way in the opposite.
I also
end
don't
of the
think that should be shamed, but
No, it shouldn't at all. It shouldn't. But also on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you join the army at 18, you'll never
you
get
won't
out
be the
of
same
that.
after that.
Yeah,
either.
you'll never nothing. So it that means not to me. But when I think about it, so I'm thinking about it like, okay, so for you to be able to say that, no, that's okay, put your daughter in that scenario. And I said, I still feel like that's okay. Not that she's doing that, right? But it's okay that you chose to do that at that age.
That she can make that choice. At
Exactly, because at that point, that's on you. And more times than not, most females start their preseason a lot earlier than 18. Your preseason usually starts around that 16-year-old age. And that's a conservative answer, because I know a lot of preseasons start sooner than that. And I would say even on average, I would even go to 15. But to keep it conservative, we'll say your preseason starts at 16 for a lot of people. And some people save themselves, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
So
for the
when you're
most
saying
part,
preseason, you're meaning like sexually
females
active.
get sexually active. Now, the reason why I say preseason is because most times when you're 16 as a female and you become sexually active, you don't immediately jump into the pool of adult men. At that point, you're
Fair.
dealing with people in high school,
You're dealing
people
with
in
other
school.
that are 16,
Right, people that
17,
you know.
inexperienced.
Exactly. Then you
Who
work
are
your
just
way
as
up.
nervous as you are, blah, blah, blah.
Right. But then once you hit that 18 mark, and this is very rare, I would say it's more rare for a woman to lose their virginity at 18 than a couple years before. I wouldn't even say a couple, but before the age of 18.
Possibly.
Because there's more pressure on that woman to do so than it is that man. I honestly feel like we're getting to a point now where the men are more so virgins because they can't get it, as opposed to a woman who's able to, like, we're you know what I mean?
The flip side is if a woman that wants to have sex, she can find a man that wants to have sex with her.
I mean,
it's not
online,
always
you can click
it's
on
not
your
always
computer.
the flip
Fast.
side.
Right, you can click on your computer
Fast,
and there's
too.
going to be notifications letting you know that you
Right.
could if you wanted to. That's not always the case for other people as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at also with that is why I said that may be okay in my book, and this is just my book, this isn't anybody else, is because most of the men that subscribe to her OnlyFans within 6 hours of her dropping it
Yeah.
aren't sexually active in the first place.
Right.
They're not the ones out there
That are
at
out
the
getting
bars
some,
or the
yeah.
clubs shooting their shot with women.
Right.
They're the ones that are
sitting behind
socially
a
right.
computer screen.
Exactly. So I see that as a no harm, no foul.
I don't disagree.
You know what I mean? Like, especially if it's a young lady that may not be ready for this, at least you're not putting her in a position where she's physically in something she's not ready for.
I've seen, I want to say SVU did kind of an episode that was exactly that kind of like thinking behind it. Was basically a cam girl that ended up assaulted, but the whole point was like, yeah, she's a cam girl, but she always does like solo shit.
Right.
Because she has control. She's in control at that
Right.
point. And you're not in control. As soon as you involve another partner, and especially from a female perspective, I would assume, like, you are
In 90,
within your rights. You have
88%
a
of the
right
time-
to your own body, but
88% of the time you're
the man,
not in your
there's a man that is there's. I'm not saying all men are stronger than all
Right.
women, but generally
That's
speaking,
why I say 88% of the time,
Right.
you're not. You may be in control,
Right.
but you're not in control if he so chooses that you're not in
right,
control.
you're at risk. There's a bigger risk factor.
Right.
Whereas if you're just camming and there's
Right.
a computer screen between you and the person, you're not at any risk.
I mean,
generally speaking.
I'm of a different breed though, because at the same time, you already know how I said. I said, listen, God forbid anything happens and my daughter chooses to do anything wild, but if you do, we'll get you in Vegas up in a cage hanging from the ceiling where nobody can touch
Right.
you, where you
Right.
make that real money at the end of the night instead of trying to compete with these hoes trying to suck dick in the back.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what changes you when you're like, oh, I can't get money until I
Right.
You know what I mean? And then
Right.
ignorant females that are too young hopping off the porch are now something that
Absolutely.
you should have never become type shit.
So
I'd much rather it be this than that is what I'm getting at. And I feel like our generation has a lot of that, and we look down on this when it's the vice versa.
right,
Yeah.
right.
We should have been looking down on what we were doing
Right.
and saying it would have been better if we did that.
Right, right. Instead of being so right.
So I had to pull back my
Your own kind of
judgment, you know what I mean, at the
Yeah.
in the beginning to even see that. It's kind of this, I meant to send it to you too. Did you see the chick that posted it's on World Star, posted a minute-long clip of why she cut off her toxic relation with feminism?
No.
Very interesting. And so
What was some of the reasoning?
to summarize it, and I have a pretty good memory, but I know I probably won't do the best. But she was saying, I'm not even gonna say the backstory, but she ended up, being on her own. She said, she sees online, you should, you can be a strong, dependent woman, do everything a man can do. So have your job and take care of your household type shit.
Yeah.
So she said she started doing that. And then she started seeing, posts online where now you got to be pretty while you do that. And if you're not pretty, then you're considered lazy because you should be presentable at the job doing
Right.
that
Yep.
as a woman. And then she said after doing, and she named other things, but I can't remember all of them. She said
What all
after
it was.
doing all this, the first thing I thought was, I need a wife.
Why?
No, she said I need a wife. Like I need somebody to help, like somebody to help me out type shit.
Right.
And she was like, and that's why I cut off my toxic relation with feminism. And it's not that I agree with her.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways I do, in some ways I don't. But it's that exactly, that being able to pull yourself out of that normal way of thinking, the way that your mind was designed to flow, and say, well, what about it from this way? And be like, yeah, no, what you thought didn't make sense. Because immediately my first thought was disgust. Like, how the fuck could she just drop the shit and she already got a 1 point something million? Because there's that many pullback. I was going to say deviants. Not at all. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not doing anything wrong just off the strength of this situation. Don't know what else is on your server.
Right.
But from this perspective, not doing anything wrong. So forgive me for my mind even going
I got
that way.
you.
That's another thing, pulling it back. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of men out there that prefer younger women, which once again is not a problem. As long as it is legally of age and you're not manipulating.
Right.
There's consent, and
Right.
it's to your point, not
Right.
manipulating, and yeah.
But at the same time, I saw, and this is crazy as fuck as well. I saw a post where a female said, if you choose to sleep with a woman and you didn't plan on having a relationship with them, and you made them feel like you wanted a relationship, that's sexual assault. No, bitch, you're dumb. You're dumb as fuck.
Well,
No, you're dumb.
I agree that I wouldn't classify that as sexual assault. What I
Now
would
it's
say,
wrong.
It is
but
wrong.
to say that it's sexual assault is minimizing actual
Sexual
assault. You
I agree.
stupid bitch.
That's just a
There's people that
desensitization.
get sexually assaulted, and because you're dumb and you don't have correct judgment, you try to lump yourself in a pool of people you should never want to be lumped in
be
with.
in with, period, yeah. Well, and honestly, what I've found through personal experience, especially last 2 years of college and the 4 years after it, if you're upfront about, look, I'm not really looking for a
Listen.
relationship, I'm just looking to fuck.
Honesty.
Guess what? A lot of times you'll find the ones that are looking for just that too.
Well, you know what's funny about that?
Right.
I agree.
It depends because I feel like, not to cut you off.
No, not at all.
Just real
Continue.
quick, I feel like I feel like even when you do that, I mean, I don't know about y'all's experience. I'm speaking from mine. I feel like
people fall in
I just
love.
want to remind you, your wife's in the chat.
It's
That's why you see how I did my pause and I looked at.
Nah, you fall in love. Eventually, something happens to where it's like, yeah, no, every time.
It always leads to. I don't care. Yeah, we're strictly.
So that's why you can never say that from the beginning because your mind
gonna
says
happen.
one thing and that says another. But
No, I've been in plenty of just friends with benefits type,
They're out there, but I'm saying I think we're just.
and nobody ever caught feelings.
It's well. Listen, I've never
been in this situation where it wasn't.
It's always eventually, and you're like,
ooh, I didn't plan on this.
No, I'm not.
Alert button.
Red flag.
Red flag.
Let me let me dial that one back for just a second. It's not that there hasn't been a situation where feelings were caught, but I've also been in situations where like there were no feelings caught. Like and I've joked about this, and I think I've talked about this on the podcast. We'll see if Shark's paying attention, listening.
Right, Mike.
I'll probably get a text. I'll be the
Mike,
one
be
to get the
careful.
text. I got passed around the volleyball house,
Mike was.
and it was a great time.
Well,
That was a volleyball whore.
That's because it wasn't that. Now that situation is different, right? Because in that situation, it's a knowingly thing. It's a
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. Is
Well,
that
no,
you can find
I'm
the
saying
knowingly
no,
situation.
no. See, you're missing me. 'Cause
Okay.
No,
Sorry.
see, at that point, you're not a person anymore. You're a thing, right?
Which I'm okay with.
Right, but that's what it is. So if it'd be the same thing as it'd be
Just
the same.
traded oral. It was fine.
I was only kidding.
yo.
I was only kidding.
So, why are y'all? So, hold on, real quick. So, with the chat, we've gotten some feedback in the chat. It's funny. So, like my cousin Lester, who's my age, earlier, he had said back on the age and the stuff we were talking about. He said in other cultures, age of consent doesn't apply, which we know. Arranged marriages should be with two kids of young age, not one older than the other. That's one comment he made.
Fair.
But it never is. Arranged marriages never are of children with the same age because very rarely do you see children with the same power of this at the same time. You know what I mean? Usually arranged marriages are coming from connecting families.
Right, but I think what they're saying is an arranged between two children. Meaning both two underage. Right,
okay,
here's an
I see.
11-year-old,
I see
here's a
what-
12-year-old,
I
and
see what
they
you're
are being
saying. That makes sense. Okay.
So, real quick, so this is just the newest one. I'm going to skip the other ones because they were just little emojis and stuff. But Alexis, whatever you might have just said a minute ago, she said absolutely, Cliff. I know there's some delay, so I don't know what part she.
So what I was getting at, and this is most likely what she was saying. What I was getting at is you're now a thing. See, women are different than men. See, men can make songs like Lil Wayne, like I don't care if you was a prostitute and you hit every man that you ever knew. And to be honest, I feel that way. I don't give a fuck how many bodies you got under your belt.
Right.
Are you clean now?
Right.
And are you loyal? Those are the
Right.
two questions that I need to ask of you. But I don't care
Facts.
who you fucked. Women are different to where once you fuck somebody that they know, you are now not Michael. You are the thing that person fucked. So now I can pass you to them without catching any feelings because I've eliminated your humanity and made you the thing.
You're a sex toy.
Right. Of need.
Yeah, that's the part she agrees with. She said that's funny.
That's the difference between men and women.
Right.
Now, we've seen a lot of men like that where they were with a girl and was
But
like,
I thought men were the ones that get.
You said what?
Criticized. I thought men were the ones that always get criticized for
Men do.
objectifying
Men
women.
get called hoes.
Well,
too,
that's
and
different
Scots
because
and-
listen, this is
If you just called me a sex toy,
That's
then
different.
I am
No,
absolutely being
no.
objectified.
Yes, no, you are. But it's different though because women misunderstand our objectification.
Right. Okay.
We don't objectify the same. See, they objectify differently and try to equate their objectifications onto us,
Onto what our
which is not the same.
All right.
Our objectifications are completely different than theirs, but because they're stuck in their heads thinking about the way they think, they assume that we do it equally. It's not equal, though. Now, we do still have equal objectifications, but the objectifications are not on equal fields.
They're not okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
I think I need an explanation.
So what I'm
there
saying
in
is,
terms
this
of-
is what I was about to get at. So we all have known that guy where it's like, and I hate to say it, but in in my immature self, you're with a girl that you know isn't right for you, but you're like, she's fun though.
Right.
And then you tell your boy, like, listen, she's fun. If you get a chance,
Toxic.
you should
but, yeah.
try to talk to her.
Right.
And then the boy talks to her and ends up liking her. And next thing you know, they're together. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that man doesn't have that same objectification looking at that woman as a thing that I've used. You feel what I'm
Got it.
saying?
Yeah,
He
okay.
likes her for her. She's fun and I like your style.
Right.
I'll wife you up. Whereas a woman automatically decreases value by knowing. It's
that
not
you've
about
been
how
with
many
a
people
friend
you've
of
been with,
hers
but I
or-
know you've been with somebody I know. Therefore, your value decreases in my book. You're not
Right.
gold, you're silver now.
I got it. I hear what you're saying there.
Then if another dude that she pegs as gold comes around,
That she pegs.
Right, Mike. So
you let that dead fool.
I'm just doing it because I know you get. Yeah, see your reaction.
to y'all's point, Alexis said everybody is different, which we know.
No, that's the truth.
She said I couldn't just sleep with people I had no feelings for. That's what she said. She's
Right.
saying, for her she's got to be like.
Yeah, but there's a. I don't know.
But I know what you're
think
saying,
I
Mike.
think
I
generally
feel that
speaking,
way now. I didn't always feel
Right,
that way.
because you're thinking with a different head, as they say.
Yeah, I feel
back
that way
then.
now.
You know?
I didn't always
Right.
feel that way.
You're like,
No,
But I also
I don't
was
want to get
extremely
myself in
loyal.
trouble.
Right, that's why we're having the PG Mike and
I
I.
also was extremely loyal too, though. So
Right.
there was a lot of interactions that I turned down because
Yeah.
of being with someone,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean.
See, but that's
Yeah.
the difference, dude. Like, you were cute growing up, and girls.
What you mean? I'm not.
I'm not saying you're
that's
ugly
not-
now.
I'm just.
I'm not saying you're ugly now. What I am saying is,
Yes.
what I am saying is,
that
grow
nigga,
up
though.
as the chubby white kid, and then guess what? Any girl that shows you attention, affection, it's hard to say no because you're not used to getting it. Like, this is the ugly duckling syndrome, right? We talk about that a lot with women. Trust me, it's the same for dudes too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, my first three, not even first three, probably 8 of the first 10 girls I was with, they came on to me.
Right.
And guess what? I wasn't used to that, so I had a hard time saying no.
Mike said, "You throwing it? I'm catching it."
I'm here.
Yeah, no, I think I would have. I think I might be a little turned off if a female.
And I'm not saying they came on strong, but they made the first move.
So you're
You
pulling the
remember
Tupac.
when I came back? Oh no, Michelle wasn't in the car.
So you're saying you don't want it like Tupac said, "I don't want it, baby. I don't want it if it's that easy." Is that what you're saying? You said,
Yeah,
okay.
no, not even that easy. You know what I mean? Because like, let's be honest. If you
My wife is the first one I think I actually chased.
Same.
Well,
When she
Chase-
turned 18.
The other ones actually fell into my
well,
life.
chase and approach are two different things, and I don't mean that from like any ego perspective. Like,
I know what you mean.
I didn't chase. You know what I mean? But I'm saying chasing. Like usually, it's.
I
okay.
made the first move in terms of like made a move to like get her to
Right.
notice me.
Well, see, here's the thing, and this is shouts to you, pops. This is the thing is.
Shoot your shot.
Listen, you hear what I'm saying? My pops has always
Shoot it!
always trained me to be a shooter. Always trained me to be a shooter. And even, because let's be honest, it doesn't matter how cute you think you are, you get those nerves in situations where it's like, oh shit, this is a little too much, biting off too much more than I could
You
chew.
fear rejection. Everybody.
It's not even rejection, because even when you get accepted, you're still like, oh shit, am I ready for this that I'm, about to get into type situations. But the only reason why I say this is I'll never forget. I will never fucking forget to the day I die. My pops, I guarantee he doesn't forget. My mother never forgot. We went to go see.
He's
Damn,
good.
I can't.
You're usually good at
Yeah, I can't think of the movie.
You
It
always know
wasn't.
something.
It wasn't.
Filing cabinets instead.
I was
of
gonna
galaxies.
say right. I was gonna say Don't Be a Menace, but it wasn't Don't Be a Menace because me and my pops and them watched that on bootleg. It was Friday.
Or Friday after next.
No, because that Friday after next I was old enough.
You
You,
were
know
old
what I
enough,
mean?
okay.
But at Friday I was still like 11, 12. My mom wasn't really trying to have me watching that shit. But I think it was Friday. All I can remember is we went to go see it. It was me, my mom, my dad, my stepmom. We're sitting in like the back mid row, and it's these young girls in the front row. Can clearly tell they're older than me because they're developed as shit.
right.
But they keep looking back at me and waving. And my dad, I seen
Because
it,
Cliff was cute.
and I seen it, but I didn't say anything. So my dad says, "Get up and go sit
Right.
down with them." And something, I guess I was just, that bite off more than you could chew
Right.
situation where it was like, nah, I can clearly see they're a little older. I don't know.
That's a little much. It's
Right,
a little
so
much.
I didn't go down, and of course the father that I got started talking shit. You soft ass ain't gonna go around and say, "What you scared? You scared ass?" You know what I mean? So I
peer
didn't
pressure.
listen. So I still didn't go down. I still didn't go down there. Next thing that happens is my mom and my stepdad walk down the aisle of the movie theater and see me sitting in there and pull me out of there.
Oh, so you were there with your dad and your stepmom.
And my
Your
mom and my
Mike
stepdad
showed
came
up.
walking
Okay.
down the aisle,
What?
pulled me out of there, and embarrassed me in front of the young ladies. Because the movie hadn't even started yet.
Before you had a shot. How did you know you was there?
They were
They saw it
walking
'cause the
down the,
lights were still
aisle,
up.
and
The lights were
the
still
lights
up.
were still on. So they were walking down the aisle, going to their seat, and we were sitting right by the aisle.
I mean, I get that. I guess maybe pose my question differently. So you went with your dad and your stepmom.
Right.
How did, ironically, is it just a coincidence, or how did your mom
They
and
didn't.
was just a
stepdad?
Right. They didn't invite each other.
Right.
There's only so many black movies that came out in the 90s,
That had to
Malcolm.
be it. That had to be it.
And movie
There was
theaters on
like
the
2
east
a
side.
year,
That
if
had to
that.
be it.
And
There
one movie theater on the east side.
There wasn't Eastland Mall.
Bryce
You
Road.
remember that? No, there wasn't. I said Eastland. There wasn't Easton. It was the one right there.
Right, the Bryce Outlet.
No, the one on Hamilton Road across from Eastland Mall. They used to have a big theater
Oh,
there too.
yeah. I forgot about
Uh-huh.
that one. Yeah. Well, we
I
never.
think it was that one.
We always went to the Bryce Outlet, so.
No, I think it was that one because I was
The
right around
Dollar
the
Theater
corner.
at Bryce Outlet, that was my jam.
Oh yeah, with the spaceship looking
Uh-huh.
fellas. Man, stop it.
My man.
Yeah, you already know I know. Man, stop it. We had one of them in a minute. You know them spaceship tunnels.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But yeah, I always thought to myself, even to this day, like if you wasn't such a fucking pussy and went down there, you probably would have had a good time and then got caught afterwards,
Right.
or not even got caught at all. But because you was
The
too
question
soft,
is, did your mom recognize your dad first, or did she recognize
oh, I'm
you
sure
first?
she recognized my dad because I was that young. She probably
Right.
didn't even see me above the
the
seat.
seats.
You know what I mean? Like from the back.
Is she just glaring at your dad the whole
Man.
way up or
I
something?
bet that was
I'll never forget that
a
shit.
rough situation.
I mean, I didn't really get in trouble.
Right. I mean, because it wasn't
What
your
can
fault.
I do? What am I
It
going to
wasn't
say?
your
Right.
fault. It wasn't
Right.
your fault.
But that was a rough one. And ever since then, I've always thought, see what being a pussy get you. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
hear you.
see what not taking the shot when it's open get you.
And we've had that talk before.
And now I feel like if I want it, I gotta say something
Right.
because who knows what could happen? I could get in trouble if I don't, based off of my previous experiences. So I gotta shoot mine.
That's funny though. I can see your dad doing that just based off of how he is. Oh, you're not gonna go down there. What you saw?
Oh,
from each
yeah,
other?
all
Just-
You scared?
Right.
You want me to go down there and talk to him for you?
I'll go down there for you.
So
Right.
my dad didn't go that far, but he always, his way of trying to get me to do something was always, are you a man or a mouse? I used to hate that. I'm like, why would you even?
I mean, I like that too, though.
I was like,
Well,
I
my
don't wanna
pops is
do
real
it.
hands on because of boxing and all that. So it wasn't a talk. it was a
Oh.
prove it to me thing. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's how he got me in, like, training. Like, you can do it. Prove me to me. You know what I mean? So when it was a situation like that where he would like tease me, it was like, just get it out of you. You know, it's in you. Just pull it out. So it wasn't even.
And maybe that's some of the difference too, because like I lost my dad at 11.
Right.
I didn't get those kind of like pearls of wisdom.
Right.
I love my stepdad. Kevin's a good dude.
I wouldn't call them pearls of wisdom, but
But
I know what you mean. I know
for
what
it.
you mean.
And then, like, I got nothing but love for Kevin, but he also knew to be careful.
I love him.
He also knew to be careful with me in terms of like how much advice and that kind of shit he gave me, because like
Stepfather
it was
roles
different.
are tough. Especially that one. Especially yours specifically. Mike, shout out to you. But yours specifically, that's a little different. You know what I mean? That's a little more handle with care, approach with caution, or proceed with caution type. You know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt, because they had been like, he and my mom got married, what, a year and a half, 2 years before my father passed away?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, and don't get me wrong, he was there for the whole time, but there was also kind of the shit that went down when I was a freshman in high school.
Right, I remember all of it.
And all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, he was just, I think he was much more of a father figure to my little brother than he was to me.
Well,
Like,
you
to
probably,
me, don't get me wrong, he was a mentor, he was basically like a coach to me, but I never treated him as a true, like, father figure.
Right.
And I love him. Like, don't get me wrong. And I know he views me as his son, and I am all for it. But there was never that real, like, father-son relationship.
He calls me his dark son. I don't mind
all the
it.
time.
Well, your stepdad?
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Listen.
I like it.
So I think that's where, like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how I came to be, like, the way I am with this shit. And maybe that's why, like, I didn't have the confidence necessarily to shoot a shot, and, like, why I latched on to,
but you know what?
any of the attention that I did get, because you know my mom. I love my mom. She's probably out in the chat somewhere right now.
All right, love you, Reese.
Not the warmest person in the world.
Neither is mine. Neither is mine. What you mean? The fuck? That's my grandpa in there.
Right. Yeah.
He don't listen. He's not that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, hold up. Let me absorb that thought. Let me pull it back in my galaxy. Let me create a black hole in my mind. Pull that thought back. Oh, but what I was saying is maybe you said that he was a more of a dad to your brother, but maybe that's because he needed it more. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. And Matt was younger.
Right, and you at least had people.
I had a decade worth with my father, and then I also had a network of people.
Right, and you know what I mean? I'm
By
not
that
saying
point.
Matt didn't have people.
But he was not even 5? My dad passed. No, he was 6 when my dad
Well,
passed.
see, where I come
and I
from.
was 11.
Where I
there's
come
a big
from.
difference
You guys
there.
have same dad, same mom, you and your brother?
Yeah, we're full brothers.
Where I come from, the little ones still kicking with you. They just learn faster.
No, and I think that's right, but I think, again, I think there's a difference between losing a father figure at 6 versus losing one at 11.
Yeah.
I see exactly what you're saying.
Because I had more exposure to it.
See exactly what you're saying.
That's the perfect, you know what?
And at 6, honestly, because we switched schools right after that, too, like after he passed, like, I always still had you, Shelby, Gordon. Like, I had you guys.
That's what I was
Matt
saying.
Matt didn't have
as many,
anything.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. So it looked like he needed it more.
Yeah.
That reminds
Not
me,
that you didn't need it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
No,
I at least had some
I know
sort
you
of
haven't
support.
seen this movie, and Mike, I feel like you've probably seen it because our kids are the same age. Have you seen the movie Onward?
Mm-hmm.
So in this movie, basically what you're talking about, that's like the perfect backstory to it is a younger dad's dad died. Older brother had more time when younger brother didn't have nearly as much. So he's always craved that. He needed that more than the older brother. So basically what y'all are saying, I just let me think of that movie.
No, I think that's a great connection.
It's a good movie
because
because I think you like it, like even in general, like for real, I think you like
I probably
Yeah,
would.
it's got a little
Pixar-
Dungeons and Dragons-y
it's a
to
Yeah,
it.
Pixar
it's good.
joint.
It's like I love
I
it.
like
Like, I
all
love
the
that
Pixar
movie.
joints.
I think you like it.
It's
My thing
basically
was,
like a fantasy realm, but like almost a modern day feel.
Really?
Yeah,
Homework?
it brings a good.
It's
Where's
kind of
it-
like
where's it
Bound.
at?
What was or not Bound?
Disney Plus. I want to
Okay,
say.
I don't have that.
What was the
I'll get you logged in.
What was the
Okay.
What was
It
the
was.
Netflix movie? What was it? Bright. Fantasy setting, but modern world. Will Smith. There was
I
like
never got a
orcs
chance to
and
see
shit.
it. I didn't get a chance to
It's
see
actually
it.
Wait,
pretty
what?
good.
Oh yeah,
Right,
I
right.
like that.
Really? Because you don't like
It's a
those
cartoon
movies
version.
usually.
It's a
Right.
cartoon version of that.
Okay, that's saying
It's
something.
a Pixar version of that.
Okay.
That's
But I
saying
seen
something.
what they were trying to get at
Right.
with the whole movie, and that's why I was like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
No.
enjoyed Bright. I did, and I don't usually like Will Smith shit.
Right, man.
Will
Yeah.
Smith's not my guy.
I love Fresh
White
Prince.
people love Will Smith.
They do. They love a lot.
We talked about that last episode. It's only a few Will Smith movies I like. I said Men in Black, Wild Wild West,
Right.
and we didn't even say all Men in Blacks. I think it was one.
Yeah, just the first
Wild Wild West, and I think it was one more. Ali.
Ali. See,
Them
I
is
like
mine.
I Am Legend, but yeah.
I didn't like any of that. And you said Hancock too. I wasn't a
Am
big fan
Legend.
of Hancock.
Hancock isn't good by any means, but just him in it, like
It
I
wasn't bad.
I like the
It's
idea of
okay.
an alcoholic superhero.
Oh, I like the idea. They could have did it a lot better.
They could have, but they also kept it relatively clean, like for it being what
I
it
think
was.
that's
yeah.
what it was.
If they had taken it to like an R rating, like because I think
They
it
didn't
was
even
like
have
a
to go like hella
PG-13.
raunchy, but
right.
they could have did more with that.
Yeah.
That
Which
was
is-
a good concept.
Is that basically? I haven't watched it. Is that basically what they did with The Boys on Amazon?
The Boys. I haven't seen it.
No, I get more of a Watchmen vibe from
Okay,
that.
all right.
Like
all right.
more of a, like, because the Watchmen kind of took it there. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? Like when the dude raped old girl to make the daughter superhero
Yeah,
type shit.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it took it there. Like
Okay.
this is kind of how The Boys is. It kind of takes it there, but not quite that
Not
far.
quite
But
as
it's
far
like,
as
oh
Watchmen
shit,
does.
like
Okay.
they're regular people too, type
Right.
shit.
Well, Watchmen's just interesting, especially the TV series.
I
of
didn't
it.
get into it. I tried to watch the first episode. I just didn't get into it.
It was a little heady, as is Lovecraft Country. Both of them get a little heady.
But see,
But
that's
they
the
both
Jordan
have-
Peele joint, ain't it?
Yeah,
That's why I probably give that a little more
got it. A
opportunity.
little bit more of an opportunity.
Just because I like his head, I like his mind. So even if I don't like the show, I'll still be trying to wonder where his head was when he was,
Right.
making it. But that,
I mean, they both hit on basically the Tulsa race, the
Right.
Tulsa massacre.
yeah, that wasn't that the first episode of the one.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get into it. I might have to rewatch it. But certain things, it just doesn't, like, it'll be, like, right on the money of what I'd like to see, but it goes clear over my head. Like,
Yeah, I hear you there.
I'm just not interested.
No, and honestly, like, it beats you over the head with it too.
You need to learn
So
how to
that's
pour
where
a beer.
it's- You got half foam over there,
Right.
Mal.
Listen, I'm doing just fine. I don't want to make a mess.
You're supposed to tilt your cup to the side.
Listen, it's all gonna go down the same way. We're
Right,
gonna-
Whenever it
she's gonna be drinking a half a cup of foam before it goes down.
Watch, it'll be all right.
Be all right. It'll
It'll
be all right.
Listen, safe driving then. But
Right, you wasted half a beer. Right,
You know, we're trying to work smarter, not harder.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly,
Well, I guess that would be the
allegedly.
opposite.
Lawyer lady.
The lawyer lady.
Allegedly. The lawyer lady up there in the booth is telling me to say allegedly.
Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him?
Lord knows I'll be following. I'm just playing.
So by the way, Cliff, Shelves
Who Shelbs? Oh, I love
on a
Shelbs.
different. Oh, she's still okay. I'm on. Not that there's anybody on there, but I'm on Instagram Live. as
Yep,
well,
do
my
all
phone.
that.
And she said, "What's up,
Tell
Tara?
her she
Tara
better
just
subscribe, or
Right, hey,
me and Shelbs
Shelby,
will have some motherfucking
Tara,
problems.
Listen, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe, all that shit.
Share it to all our
At Foolproof Net on all major social media platforms.
our family, our DFS family,
DFS allegedly family, former family.
former.
Some of y'all were family. That's a different story. But yeah, shout out Shelbs, former boss. We miss you, Shelbs. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call her one day, and maybe we can go out,
One
do
day.
some lunch or something. Just
Yeah, we
chat.
can,
'Cause she always asks about us, and she's been.
That's my bestie, my best friend. Go best friend.
She kept us there longer than we needed to be because there was plenty of days we was about to riot and.
That's my slave driver, my slave driver, my slave driver. Crack that whip, slave driver.
Listen, kept us in check too. But anyways,
I believe that's overseer. Is that right?
she said my bestie. She just said my bestie.
You know I rock with
Shells,
Shells.
we're gonna catch you soon.
Yeah,
Tara,
I would like
I'm
to.
on a podcast with these excellent hosts, Clifford
He said
and
these excellent hosts. She must
Mr.
have interview
Michael
connects.
Reggie. Yeah, she used to work at Discover too. Just the one I was just talking to. She's cool people.
Well, like, subscribe,
Yeah,
share.
please like, subscribe, share. Get on the Foolproof Entertainment Network. Everybody on YouTube, please, and thank you and share.
And you can check out more shows like Do Fools Agree
I
with
know
Mind
that's
and
right.
Body Understanding, hosted by Jeff Pharion, brought to you by the Pharion Counseling LLC.
And
Hit the
And
Showers.
Hit the Showers.
and we've got a variety. So
Presented to you by
check us
the
out.
Foolproof Entertainment Network.
No, but for real, the latest episodes of Mind and Body Understanding have dropped.
I need to watch
there
that.
were
I did too.
I need to catch up.
the two topics this week were
I think I've only been to 1 through 3, and I stopped after
basically
that.
parenting in the pandemic, and then what was the other one? The other one was what nurses are going
Parenting
through
in the pandemic. So, how many beat your kids references were made?
Right? Not that many in a mental health podcast, but in more of a you got to learn how to take care of yourself. And the phrase that they used for parents and for nurses too was, and now I'm mad because Sharp said this phrase earlier, and I was trying to remember where I had heard it, and it was in Jeff's podcast. It was you have to put the mask on yourself before you help the child or before
Right.
you help someone else with their mask, and it was the airplane reference. Et
Right,
cetera,
get
with
yourself
oxygen.
right, because you're no
You
good
gotta-
if you don't. Right.
exactly.
Side note.
My
Sh-
daughter's great. We're good in the pandemic.
Shells only said she'll subscribe. She said, "I'll subscribe when you bring me on." She's talking about the Hit the Showers. She
They
said,
hit the showers.
Hold on. She said, "You know, me and Cliff had lots of basketball combos."
We
in
did,
those
though,
days."
didn't we?
did. But listen, Shells, I love you. But you only knew 2 players, and it was like LeBron and Kevin Durant or something. You didn't know a variety.
I mean, you only have to
do your
go LeBron,
homework,
right? That's all.
Do your homework, Shelby. Shelby, bring us some stats
Yeah, we'll
and do
bring
your
her on a
homework.
Wednesday joint.
We'll bring Clifford said we're gonna bring you on.
Yeah, we'll bring her
So,
on a Wednesday joint.
you
She
do
just
your
gotta
homework.
do her homework. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to have
be
that
a
conversation with
female, too.
Aaron too. Aaron and Shelby and that bitch.
Shelby let him have it, even if she's wrong. She's still right. Like Aaron said, even if she's wrong, she's a person. She's still right.
Could have been right.
She said she's able to keep up. So all right,
We'll see.
we'll get you scheduled.
We'll see how that works.
Get you scheduled.
But what were we talking about before?
The fuck if I know.
Listen,
We went down a
Anyway,
little bit of a
subscribe
rabbit
to
hole.
subscribe to Bad Babies OnlyFans. Support
Catch me outside.
Support the youth.
How about that?
Support the youth any way you can. Subscribe to the OnlyFans.
And you can find Cliff on OnlyFans. And
Listen, I'm about to hit the showers nighttime.
So for anybody, since Lester, you just said something too about getting an appearance on a podcast. For anybody wanting to get on a podcast on a
What's
series,
the email?
foolproofentertainment@gmail.com.
Foolproofentertainment@gmail.com to anyone out there, and that means anyone, fans that we don't even know. If you have a drive to want to, I won't stop you. You know what I mean? If you work, you work. You feel me? So foolproofentertainment@gmail.com. I'm gonna have to make sure we put that up on our shit too.
absolutely.
Just so everybody is aware.
It all comes directly to me, and I'll route it where it needs to go.
Right, that's the
depending
guy
on the show.
it would need to go to, because if you send it to me, it's not gonna get looked at.
He is not
ain't
lying
gonna
on
see
that.
shit.
He won't. I'm like, Cliff, you see that email I sent you? I
What's
sent that.
email?
Right.
Real talk. My email, real talk, my Gmail is at, I think, 3,600 unread emails.
See, I used to
See,
be
that
way.
gives me
anxiety.
Nah.
I used to be the same way, Mike, as him, and then I was like, I
Listen,
can't do
I'm
it.
the same way with my mail. I'd be like, if it was important, it would be a red envelope. And I pay my bills, so
I
I
operate.
pay my bills. Have you seen that? I pay my bills. My bills are paid. Have you seen that?
no, what's
I have
that?
to show you that. So there's this meme. It's a show. I think it's called like the 1,000 pounds or something. How to lose 1,000 pounds and see sisters or 1,000 pounds.
Oh yeah, I know what you're
seen
talking
that meme?
about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. Yeah.
Listen, had me. That
It's
part
not
had me-
1,000-pound life.
It's something. It's something of that.
It's something to
realm.
that effect.
Yeah, it's
though.
something like that.
But that
though.
part has been going viral lately, and Lexus showed it to me. And I was
Listen.
My 600-pound life or something like that.
No, but it's above that though.
Okay.
Yeah, this
we need
chick's-
that soundboard when you get a chance, Mike. If you happen to find it, I pay my bills. My bills are paid. Like,
All
we
right,
need that
all right. Send me a clip.
But anyways, sorry.
Nah, I know.
We were talking about
Yeah, get me right.
Foolproof. Anybody that's interested, we said.
I thought we were past that.
Well, I was gonna go back to. My wife has her Gmail,
Okay.
and she's got like
that's what it was.
999,999 unread,
no.
and I can't look at her
No.
phone because
Yeah.
it gives.
No.
And she lets the notifications stay. Like, all right, can you at least
That's
just,
how I am.
Can you turn off notifications?
No.
Oh, see, no, that
At least
bothers
Mark is
me.
red. Mark is red or something.
Because
I
now
can't.
what's crazy about it is
I can't do it. That
you already
bothers
know
me.
I have a photographic memory. So if I'm expecting an email and it changes from 3,634 to 3,635, I know for a fact I just got an email. You know what I
No,
mean? Like
no, I can't
it's
do
kind of
that.
like how I said my organization is unorganization, where I can say my
I hear
keys are
you.
under my jacket, under the door, behind.
Well, we've talked about like intelligence and chaos theory, and like
That's how I work. I just don't know.
I hear you.
If everything is in place,
I
like
can't do that.
listen.
I operate on inbox zero. I cannot deal
Let me
with
tell you something.
unread notifications, new mail.
Right.
And this might be bad to say out loud because me and Mark about to take our CC Dub classes in April.
Don't ban us.
And this might be bad to say. So I had my daughter and her cousin, Mikhail, over.
Okay.
Staying the night. And, of course, it was podcast. It was a Saturday. I had podcast. I had to hit the showers. I always keep the strap in the room with me at all times, of course, just because, never know what might happen,
Right.
especially in the area I'm at. So after the podcast is over, I get them something to eat, and I put the gun somewhere.
But you forgot.
Forgot where the gun was.
Oh Lord.
So the next day, Kales goes home. I'm with Karma. I'm about to take Karma to go meet with her daughter. I'm like, Karma, where the fuck did I put my gun? And she like, I know you moved it because when you ended the podcast, you brought it out the room, but I don't know where you put it.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, where the fuck did I put my fucking gun? So now I'm getting panicked, like, because I know it didn't leave the house. You know what I mean?
Right,
I know
right.
none of the kids would take it because we talk about it.
Right.
We go over all that.
Yeah, you have to.
But I'm thinking, where the fuck did I put my gun? And when you're drinking, you can't remember shit. So anyway, days go by. Not days. The day that I was looking for the gun, I found it. But what I'm saying is, when I took my daughter home, come back, find the gun. Gun is in the most responsible place it could be, which is up in the top of my closet on top of my gun safe. And I'm thinking to myself,
Wouldn't in the gun safe be the most responsible place it could be?
no, because they can't reach the gun. They can't even reach. Karma can't even reach the top of my closet, and she's almost
I
my
hear you. I
height.
just thought it was funny to
Right,
say the most
it's at the
responsible
top
place
instead of
was on
inside.
top
I see
of
what you're
instead
saying.
of inside the
I
gun
see.
safe.
No, because responsibility, at least in my mind, would say
You
if
have
somebody
access
kicked
to
in the
it.
door,
I got you.
I don't
I
have
got
time
you.
to grab
I
my
fig-
key, unlock the safe,
I
grab my
figured that's-
gun, cock the gun, shoot.
I figured that's where you were gonna go with that.
Right, but I was
just
just
thought it was a
thinking-
funny statement.
Right.
And I told her too, she was like, she said, well, where do you usually put it? And I said, well, I mean, clearly it's not where I usually put it because I would know where it's at. And where I usually put it is right on the floor next to
Right.
my bed.
Yeah.
So if something happens, I can just grab
In
it.
the middle of the night or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But I knew because the kids were there, don't keep it right on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Karma's good. Kales is still curious. He's a
Right.
little younger than she
older
is.
now, that's
and
right.
he's a boy, so he's interested in shit like
More
that.
reckless, anyways, by
Right.
nature.
So, and he's related.
Because
So,
Kels is what? Kels has got to be what, 5?
7.
Okay.
He's 7.
See,
Carmen's
I
10,
thought
he's
he and
7.
Andrew were closer together.
I mean,
No, you're
Andrew's
thinking
about
of-
to be 6.
You're thinking of Jupiter.
Okay, you might be right.
He
okay.
came, he was the one that was there when you
When
brought
he was
him
real
over.
little. Yeah, okay.
You're thinking
Alright.
of Jupiter.
Yeah, Kels is probably what 7 now, 8 now.
Yeah, Kels is 7.
Because I remember he was a toddler before I had kids.
Got
And
it.
Mike and
Well, I
yeah.
mean, Andrew will be 6 here in
Yeah,
Andrew's birthday,
Jupiter
Mike?
is
Earth Day.
Jupiter's 6.
Okay. Man, you're right.
So
then.
the
Yeah,
little
yeah.
light-skinned Mexican-looking little boy.
No, see, that's not the one I'm thinking of.
That's the one we got pictures with him and
Are you sure? All right,
Andrew
I'll have to
together.
look at it at some point.
Kels is darker with braids.
That,
I don't
Kels
think-
is who I'm thinking.
that's
of.
who you- that's who
yeah,
you're
I
thinking
thought
of?
he was younger than Andrew, but he's older.
No, yeah.
Bro,
Probably
Kels
just
is
because
funny.
Andrew was bigger than him, and I just assumed.
No, listen, Jupiter's bigger than him, and
Exactly. My son is also 4'3", 100 pounds. At
that's JJ
not even
Watt
6.
right there.
Listen,
That's my little JJ Watt,
Yeah,
baby.
listen. Your son looks way older for his age. Because if you put your son and my daughter in the same room, you would not think they're the
Well,
same.
I mean, what's interesting is he had one of his friends over today,
I wish Char would
and
have
he
let
was
you get off Andre.
a full 4 inches taller than him.
I wish Char would have let you get off Andre.
Yeah, Andre.
That's what Mike wanted to name him, Andre.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
There's
yeah.
nothing I like more than a white boy with a black name.
Name. Well, guess what? He's gonna go by Reggie anyway. So what's
Right.
the point?
You're right. Even if you don't want to go by Reggie, you gotta go by Reggie.
And honestly, A-Reg is such a good
Yeah.
fucking nickname. Like that will follow him around his whole life. And we weren't even the ones that coined that one.
Listen, Andre though, my little G with Andre.
He almost said it. I caught you. That's good. That was a nice catch. You almost said it.
I mean, that's still my little nigga. What you mean?
Right, I was
But-
waiting for it. I was waiting for it. But listen, yeah, Andre. Listen, I do like that. But well, weren't we talking about? Was that you and I? It was on the Hit the Showers. I still guess didn't get clarity. There was a name. You said Isaiah.
Isaiah
So
Hartenstein.
is he white or black?
He's Jewish. Isaiah
he's
Hartenstein.
white.
Hartenstein.
Well,
Hartenstein.
Aubrey.
Aubrey. Hold on.
But Isaiah, that doesn't count because when you're dealing with Jewish people,
yeah.
that's a biblical
Yeah,
name.
that's
So
a
Isaiah
prophet.
doesn't count as being a black name because they're
I just know mostly black people with the name Isaiah than I do white
right.
people.
And all the black people that I knew named Isaiah was dogs that said
Oh.
it was this. We had a running back for Mifflin on the 120. No, he played 105. I played 75. I started on 75 and then I was a reserve on 95. So I played two games every Saturday. Our 75 game was first that I started in. And the second game I would
75. Is that weight?
weight. Yeah,
Okay.
back in the day, in the inner city leagues, they went by weight instead of age.
Age, which makes sense.
Right. So
Because A-Reg would truck anybody.
right,
who's fucking age right now.
he would.
He'd murder.
At this
somebody.
point, right? No, right. Real
see
talk.
it, too.
If you put
I
him
can see it.
you put him in where I play right now, he would be 9 weight.
Yeah.
He would be 9 weight, 120 and over.
Well, and that was the whole reason I asked the question is because I didn't play till 6th grade.
Right.
Mm.
And I know he's not
And I
120.
was,
but
was too big to play for the 5th and 6th grade team.
Right.
I ended up starting for the 7th and 8th grade
That's how
team.
my cousin-
that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah.
And I know A-Reg isn't 120, but they would still put him on 9
But he's
weight.
still 100 pounds and he's not even 6.
Is he?
That's why they would put him on
That's
9. That's
crazy.
exactly why they would put him on
That's
9 weight.
crazy.
Yeah.
Because he's still young
he's
and
gonna
he's
be
that
soft.
big. They don't know how much he's going to grow. They don't know what's going on through
Yeah,
the
no.
season. And people will call you out like, that kid's not on this.
I'm going to have to walk
Wait
around. Well,
till-
I've already assumed that, especially because we're planning some trips here in the next 12 months, like, I've already assumed I'm going to have to carry around the kid's birth certificate because people are going to challenge
Oh,
us
yeah.
on his age. big
Yeah.
time.
He looks way older than what
Yeah.
he is. I would think he's in damn near
He's
second,
huge.
third grade.
Yeah, I
I
would
mean,
think second
his
for
friend,
sure.
his friend 2 houses down is in 2nd grade, and he's bigger than him.
Yeah, I would think
He's not, he's not quite as tall as him, but like probably outweighs the kid by 20,
Right.
25 pounds.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
And he
whenever-
doesn't. He's not as round as I was at his age.
Right.
At his age, I had a huge belly.
And
I
he's
was
more
a roly-poly.
active.
Right.
And he is a fucking monster.
Right, he's more active. He has a father that is coaching and works out, so he's right.
Right.
You didn't have that. You know
No.
what I mean? Even when your dad was around,
My dad
he was
wasn't
more
a
so
real active dude.
video games.
Like he would throw
technology
or he'd throw the ball.
shit.
Exactly. We would play catch or whatever, but it's
Right.
not like no. The whole reason I
He
got
wanted
into
to watch Star Trek and
right.
shit.
The
Like
whole reason I got into sports was after he died.
Mike's dad was the coolest boy. He was the coolest ever. He was the coolest ever. He was just the coolest dude.
And
He was just a
fucking
cool
nerd.
dude. He was a real nerd, but he was just the coolest dude.
Well, he was another one that grew up in like a military family, had been pretty abused most of his childhood.
Right.
And I think he just turned that all into love.
Right.
And dude, I cannot imagine if he had been around the whole time. Like,
Right.
And we've had this talk. Like I
But
don't
you
know.
right-
I
you
don't know
wouldn't
if I
have
would have
been-
become
you
what
right,
I
nah, you
became.
wouldn't have
So yeah.
You wouldn't have been.
The only regret is him not getting to meet his grandson. But
Yeah.
Right.
other than that,
I mean, that's tough. You know.
But shit like that happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
no
karma.
doubt.
Well, I mean, she didn't experience it. She didn't know what she experienced. But situations like that, occur.
Yeah.
But you never know. You know what I mean? You never know what happens. Motherfuckers might pass each other.
That's true.
You know what I mean? They say kids still got that. They say that the older you get, the more you lose that connection to where you came from.
True.
Wherever that may be.
Wherever it was. Yeah.
So you never know. That's why they say kids see shit we don't see. You know, like how you see a dog staring in the corner. You see kids do that all the time.
Right.
Like, and you don't know what
are
it
you
is that
looking
they're
at?
right. And they don't know that that's wrong or not wrong,
Right.
but not normal.
Right.
I wouldn't even say not normal. They don't know that that's exceptional. Everybody's not that in tune.
No, I agree.
But other than that, the only other I did have a couple.
All right. Well,
Oh, he got his notes.
You and Mal cover this for a sec.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll skip over this one, then I'll wait.
All right, you
for
gonna
the
come
next
back to one?
Yeah.
Just don't let him talk about slides.
Yeah.
I won't let him go on no tangent.
Okay.
So, since I'm now on, I'm gonna redo the ad real quick. We can do that when we're waiting on Mike.
Yeah.
Since I'm now on Facebook Live, I switched from Instagram Live to Facebook Live, which I never do. Is Facebook Live. If anybody, Cliff said this earlier, Alex, I don't know what you mean. Is this in the Bible anywhere? I don't know exactly what you're talking
Is
about.
what in the
brother.
Bible?
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Talking
I don't
about
know.
Isaiah? That's
Right,
the last
Alex,
we
Alex,
talked
can you
about.
tell us what part, when you say, is this in the Bible anywhere, what you mean? But, hello, Facebook Live. I'm never on here. Grandma, if you're watching, I promise I'm not cursing or saying nothing ignorant.
I am. No, I'm just playing.
Right. I'll let my, my...
I'm the resident cursor.
Right.
The sailor.
I'll let Click handle it for me. But, glad whoever's watching. Hello, everybody. Keep watching. Please like, subscribe, share, as Cliff says, all that. Anybody that's interested in being a potential guest or guest on any of our podcasts,
Foolproof Entertainment.
please
at
email
gmail.com.
foolproofentertainment@gmail.com. Please do a subject line. Please put your first and last name, your contact. Well, wait a minute, is that right to say? Your contact
No,
information.
just put your name in
Your
the
name.
subject line, and then your contact information, and we'll get whatever we need moving forward.
So Alex said talking about kids having a certain connection with where they came from.
Oh no, that's
younger
definitely
they are.
not in the Bible. That wouldn't be in the Bible. Listen, the only thing in the Bible is what they want to put in the Bible. There's a lot of things in the Bible that probably should be that were left out on purpose. Let's keep it a buck. But no, that's just. I don't know. I don't even know where I.
So Alex, with me, as you're hold on, my bad, Cliff. As you're saying that, he said he's only asking because he knows that I'm a believer of Christianity or faith,
Right.
which is true. This is just really the art of the conversation. So anything that we talk about doesn't fully mean that we slide one way or the other on the topic.
No.
It's all for the art of conversation, typically.
And
Alex.
just to give
What's up, Twink?
Alex or whomever may be watching, whether it's your live or the podcast,
Watching the live. He said, I read Hebrew and Greek. I don't really know.
Yeah, and I mean all that's cool. You know what I mean? I'm not a big fan of religion in general, just because nothing's ever divided more people in this world than religion. Period. I do believe that there's a higher power and all that jazz. That's something that I definitely subscribe to. But I'm not the guy that's just gonna be all preaching to anyone about anything. Now, any statement that I may have made about a child, you know what I mean, or a child being closer to, that's not anything that I would say that you could reference a specific book. Granted, a specific historical book, that definitely wouldn't be the case. That wouldn't be something you'd be able to find in history.
Right.
Because history, while it is to teach the truth and the fact of the matter, most of it is to suppress. Which is why they say history is written by the victor, which means true history then gets suppressed and the victor's history becomes fact, or you know what I mean?
Alex has
Creed.
said,
Let me read it word for word so I don't mess anybody's words up.
he said, nah, that's cool. I just didn't know where it was all coming from foundationally.
Well, that's why I would say, Alex, tune into the podcast, and then you would see a little bit more than you saw from the live. And that's not any slight on anybody. I'm just saying, like, if you listen to the podcast as a whole, you would see exactly where that conversation came from.
So once again, we stress, please.
Like, subscribe, share, and all that.
All over on Apple Podcasts, over on iTunes.
You know?
Yeah, please download the podcast. Check us out on YouTube. Again, we got variety, like Mike said earlier. We've got variety.
But yeah, I mean, that's it. Those are all good questions, Alex. I definitely appreciate that. That would definitely be beneficial for the chat to see those questions. So if that is something, like if you did dig any of the conversation, transition over to the chat, and
either to YouTube
you
or
may
Facebook.
spark up a conversation outside of what we're talking about on here.
Good
We
stuff.
popping.
Alex said all that.
All that.
100.
Listen,
Shout out Alex, you a real one, bro. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate y'all watching.
all that.
Appreciate y'all watching.
But,
you had your notes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did have notes. I have to use the bathroom too,
Okay.
but before I do that, I will say another inadvertent that I had, and I know this could be a touchier subject.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Not
right.
gonna lie.
So he's going to drop the bomb and then walk out? Is
Right.
that what
After
you're
the trying to recover from it.
I'm just going. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little bit of poison in the IV and see what y'all bodies do while I'm gone. You hear what I'm saying?
Speaking of the IV, I gave a double unit of blood about...
After you took the COVID vaccine?
Shot, right.
Yes, sir.
Oh, see, they just on that bullshit.
They don't care.
So
They don't care.
Right, so tattoo
You got-
within 12 months, you can't do it. But you take a COVID vaccine that may
Oh, they
melt
just want to get the
your
COVID
fucking
vaccine into someone
skin
else.
off.
Oh, okay.
Right? That's exactly
Before you go
right.
to the bathroom,
They try to
as
spread it.
you go, here's my inadvertent thought.
Okay.
Places of business using the COVID vaccine either to their advantage or disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. As far as what? Go deeper.
So I don't remember exactly what gym it is, but there's a gym that said if you don't get the vaccine, like they'll give you some sort of free membership or some sort of. Then there's some places, I don't remember if it was a food place. There was some place I thought I seen you can get unlimited some sort.
But how could they confirm?
Because there's an ID.
Yeah, you get a card with
You
it.
get a card that shows dose 1, dose 2, you're completed. For
Yeah.
example.
Like Dunkin' Donuts was giving away a free donut.
I thought
if
it was
you had
Krispy Kreme.
That's what I had seen. Mike said
think
it.
it was Dunkin'.
Mike said it.
I
It
know-
might have been,
Mike said it.
Christmas
I know
Kreme.
it was
If you
Krispy
get
Kreme
that-
was too. It could have been Dunkin'
Yeah.
as well, but I know it was Krispy
It was one of the
Kreme.
two, but anyways, what do you
Some
guys
donut
think
do
about that? Using that to people's
I
advantages or
mean, when it comes
disadvantages?
to what I will say is...
OnlyFans, it's OnlyFans. It's up to you. You're an adult.
Right.
Make your own decisions.
But the flip side is, and I will say this, being a paying member at a gym, I'm sick of wearing a mask while I work out. And I'm vaccinated. If I can give you proof that I'm vaccinated, I shouldn't have to wear a mask while I work
But
out.
I guess what it comes down to in my mind, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess the way, and once again, I've said it in this podcast, I'm trying to retrain my brain.
Yeah.
But I guess what I think about that is if you are vaccinated, then why do you give a fuck if I'm not?
That's a good point. Why would
Fair.
you care?
You know what I mean?
Because you
you're
know what?
protected. Now, at that point, you are you then worried about you breathing your unvaccinated air because you could possibly have it, but because you have a vaccine, you could spread. It doesn't matter to you.
Right.
It would then only matter to me. So if I
Well,
feel like going
but-
in without a
But if it's a place of business that you own and you get linked to X number of cases, they may shut you down.
what I could definitely understand that, but based on Malcolm's statement, like Jim saying don't do it,
Right.
that would already at least let me
Ooh.
know that you're not getting those cases, which is why you have the freedom to say don't do it.
The flip side is the majority of cases that were like in a localized area outside of family gatherings actually happened at gyms. Like
I could see that too. I could see that.
buddy of ours, friend of the show, Luke,
I could see that.
got it from his gym.
I can see
that.
Now I'm not
Because you're
saying
breathing
that.
heavy and you're
Dang,
like
that's
right.
sweating.
rough. That's rough.
I'm not saying that that's incorrect. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that at that point it shouldn't really matter.
Well,
who
no, it'll
is-
all come down to a personal decision. I think what'll be interesting, like as a consumer, it shouldn't matter. Because I agree. Like if you work in a, let's say a retail or grocery or whatever, it's open to everybody, at least in Ohio. If you're concerned, go get vaccinated. If you're not, that's your
That's
choice.
how I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what I will flip the script on is, as an employer, do you have the right to request? I mean, schools do it. You have to get
HIPAA
vaccinated
law, right?
with like
see, that's-
MMR,
Right.
mumps, measles, rubella.
Right.
You have to have your MMR vaccine
see,
before
that's-
you can go to public school.
That's
so,
the reason why I think
Right.
that they were transitioning to work from home from the beginning, because there are going to be a lot of people that are like, no,
Rebel.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to take it.
I don't
and
disagree
then
with
you have to already look at it. They're dying for people to have jobs right now. Like I get emails where they're like, "Fuck the interview, can you start Monday?"
Right. Yeah. They want bodies. Yeah. And
So, with that being said, if you have people that are still like, I'm not going to take the vaccine, you can't then say, well
Well, it
you got to
definitely-
be vaccinated to work here
It-
because you're already looking.
But what I will say is, what the pandemic did in this age of technology versus the 1912 Spanish flu, we have the technology where you could enable work from home now.
and you could have before, now you can really implement
Right.
it.
Well, no. It accelerated the move to work
Right.
from home. Like,
Right.
I already feel like a lot of that was already moving in that direction. Like, companies were more and more open to
Right.
it, but the pandemic basically put the proof in the pudding to say,
6 more months,
You can
and
work here. You can
60% of the jobs
home.
are going to be, no, we're only work from home.
right.
yeah, I agree. And to y'all's point,
And everything else is going to be the robots, Cliff.
to y'all's point,
They already got self-checkout. You
Right.
already- you know
Right,
what I
a
mean?
lot of them too, more than
we
usual.
saw. Oh, no, I'm not going to.
So Alex in the chat on Facebook Live said it's so weird that it's okay.
Alex, hop in the goddamn podcast
Right,
chat,
man.
boy.
Get
I'm
in
just
there.
playing, but,
But he said it's so weird that it's only like that as far as we talked about companies encouraging or discouraging the vaccine and benefits.
Right.
He said it's weird. It's only like that with this particular vaccine. He said, to y'all's point, what about the other what about the others people either choose to get or not
Right.
to get? He said super weird. Like these aren't any other. He said like there aren't any other contagious viruses.
right. Right.
Well, but the flip side of that is that the assumption is that if you went to any kind of public school in the U.S., you have at least your standard like MMR, smallpox, like you've got
The
those
basics.
vaccines.
I don't know about
because-
everybody.
I'm not saying that that's a correct assumption, but what I'm saying is that is a requirement for most public schools in
Right.
the U.S.
Okay, I'll say that. I'll say most, but I know that
And
we
I'm
had
not
a
saying
lot
there aren't
of,
ways to opt out of that. There are ways
Yeah,
to
we
opt
had
out
we
of
had
it.
a
but-
lot of foreign students that didn't.
But
get
you
down
still
on
have to
none of
have
that.
medical records to basically to
Support.
to go to a public like to go to a school.
So Christina just said this virus, they're still trying to figure it out.
Right.
Where the others have been around for a while and have more answers.
No, I definitely agree with that. And my biggest thing with this virus, which I've said at least 10 times on this podcast previously, is reproduction. Everybody can get vaccinated right now, but until I see the first person that got vaccinated have a child and see that child is healthy in A1,
So
I'm not even interested in thinking about a vaccine.
I'll give you an example. There's a mutual acquaintance of ours from middle school who is 28 weeks pregnant who got the vaccine.
While she was pregnant,
right?
While
While pregnant.
she was
Well,
pregnant.
see, that's a
That's
little
interesting,
different. That's a
too.
little different, though. Now, I don't have no thoughts for that specific situation. That's your situation. But mine is prior to. You feel what I'm saying?
Conceiving with.
Right. Conceiving while vaccinated, then what? You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
well then
we're
you've
going to
got to wait
see it.
about a year. And
Right.
then all the nurses.
And I think you
babies.
will see. I think
Baby boom. There's been a lot of big baby boom though. To your point.
Well, what was interesting is there wasn't after 9 months, but after about 11 months in quarantine is when you started seeing.
But
the
you're
baby
still
boom.
Because motherfuckers was like, bitch, I'm sick of you at 6 months. And then at 10, they was like, well, we can't go nowhere, bitch. You might as well give me the draws.
It's like the World War, but which World War was it where there was a huge baby boom because people were moving military?
it was World War II.
Or was it the Great Depression?
It was
Probably
World War
both,
II.
but yeah,
Right.
That's kind of terrible. But I still missed your point. I get what you're saying. You're saying basically you got the shot, then you try to reproduce, not
not
while
having the
you're-
shot
yeah.
while
Yeah,
you're pregnant.
I got
That's
you, I got
different.
you.
right. Because I missed it for a second.
Because that baby may have already been developed to the point
Enough,
that
yeah.
vaccine isn't affecting them, but to already have it in your system and then reproduce, that's my number one question. And let's be honest, I'm not the kind of guy that's worried about having kids in the future, but I may want to, you know what I mean? And if that would be the one thing that would stop me from, because I just got a vaccine because people said to get it, I would be very fucking upset. And there wouldn't be any specific person I could take that out on.
I hear you.
You feel what I'm saying? So let me just cool back. I'll take my chances. If it happens, it happens. If I go, I go.
Right.
But for the time being, I'll sit back and let y'all do the experiment
What's up, Kurt?
and
Alex,
see what's popping.
Alex-
Handle y'all's business. I gotta
so
drain the snake,
Mike, he said,
as some would say. Catch me on OnlyFans.
you won't see much on there, but catch me on. I never promised you that you would see much, but you can catch me on only.
Yeah,
I'm just only laughing because speaking of that, I remember one
Comes
time.
up a little short.
I think he was on a podcast on the Do Fools Agree before. I had tuned in as a viewer, and Cliff said to you, Mike, I believe he said, "quote unquote." I don't want to do that. How many different positions or different pictures of my junk can I take of my stuff? Like, can I post on there? Like,
That's why
I
it's
remember you
video
saying that.
only. This is all video, baby. I'm gonna start doing it like that dude that got his girlfriend out there recruiting.
Catch me outside. How about
me
that?
Outside, how about that? 6.2, how about that? Or 1 point, whatever.
1 point. Listen, negative points, but no, I mean this stuff is interesting, Mike, as we know, like with rules and regulations, like with places like
Yeah.
you have to be vaccinated, or hey, we're not going to push you. Like speaking of, so the job that I took, like it's remote, so they definitely like didn't say you have to get vaccinated, or we require you to, or there's not. But then I won't say it, but another job I'm interviewing for, which I just went through my third interview.
Are they requesting it?
They haven't said anything, but I don't know if that'll be a thing where they're like, hey.
I don't think anybody is pushing it yet.
Right.
What I'll be curious about is in, say, another 3 months, another 4 months. And speaking from, like, the company I work for, they've delayed our return to office to Labor Day weekend, but they've also kind of thrown up the gauntlet in terms of employees are basically allowed to self-select in terms of, do you want to continue to work from home 100% of the time? Do you want some kind of hybrid schedule, or do you want to work from the office full time? And I'm curious to see by the time we get to, especially here in Ohio, where I think it's a little different, because we're already basically opening vaccines up to anyone over the age of 16.
I seen that.
A lot of states are still in like phase 1A, 1B in terms of like they're not even down to 65-year-olds yet.
Really?
So
Dang.
is Ohio a little different in the sense of, and as companies start returning to office, are they going to require the vaccine for you to say, yes, I want to go back to work in the office full time?
Right. What's going to be right?
And not that everybody wants to go back to an office,
yeah.
but there are plenty of people that would rather work in an office than work from home. Like,
right, they would.
I wouldn't mind it.
I would say
working in the office,
but I kind of like working in the office more than working from home. But
because you get to separate the two things.
I wouldn't mind
right.
it if daycare wasn't a thing for my situation right now. But outside of that, yeah, I wouldn't mind working in the office. I don't. I mean, it's not no biggie to me.
My whole thing was, I have no problem going in if I need to go in. But my company is also basically blowing up our cube farm.
What's that?
Like a cubicle farm.
Okay.
And making it like all
Where
open.
is it, in China?
No. Here in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. I didn't know they brought sweatshop. No, I'm just playing.
No, what they've done is they're basically trying to move it to a more collaborative workspace.
Right.
And so instead of being cubes, like cubicles, it's a lot of open space. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work for the work that I do. Like, I don't want to be...
I would imagine that would be even worse anyway.
Right.
Like from a reference point of spreading germs to noise to everything. Like this whole world that we live in is ass fucking backwards. Like to the point that I get why people were saying like the whole idiocracy thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it almost leads me to think that could have probably been taking place while the movie was out.
Right.
And now we have people that are the idiots saying let's water the grass with Gatorade in office currently.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how the fuck does any of the shit that you're saying make sense? And how is no one around to stop you from making it not make sense?
Right. No, I'm with you. I mean...
That's how it is with my work. That's how it is with everything. I'm just like, well, wait. Like, is anybody thinking about the next steps that come after this?
No.
Not just right now, but what about next? Next on the list. Nobody's thinking about that, clearly.
Right.
So, in the chat, Alex has said, if restaurants can be full capacity and have people 4 feet from each other sitting at tables without masks, I don't even know why people are being kept from work.
I mean, I agree.
That's a good point. I agree,
Alex.
We went to BJ's Brew House. My wife, my sister-in-law, and her boyfriend yesterday out in Polaris.
You just gotta wear it to be seated, and then you can take it off.
And it was back. You know, it's every other
chewing,
it's
coughing.
back to back now. Like it's back.
Okay,
to
so it's not every other table.
Yeah,
now,
it
it's
was like
back.
someone was behind me.
God
was in front of
forbid
me.
somebody needs the Heimlich. Everybody got a quarantine.
That's fair.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm joking, but you know how it goes.
Well, and you know what I find interesting is we're both vaccinated now. We haven't gone out.
Oh, you in
Right, nothing's changed.
Right.
Huh.
Right. I mean, we're having people over a little more frequently now, but we haven't started going back out to anything. And we used to be like big, like once or twice a month going and seeing a movie, like dinner.
I don't even know why you vaccinated. You O-gang.
Right.
Are you, Mike? Your O blood type?
Yeah.
Right. My father-in-law is. He was around all of us that had.
Listen,
didn't catch it.
I've been hugged by somebody with COVID.
You went to a baby shower
and got hugged, like was on the list. Remember
by the person that had it?
Yeah, remember they said you have to be contact. You have to contact everybody you had contact with.
Right.
And they called me like I got COVID. You need to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My heart dropped. I was like, oh my fucking God, we gotta deal with this shit now.
Remember, I thought
I was like nothing. I was even calling other people because Face hugged the person too, and I was like, "Face, you good?" She was like, "I ain't good. I don't even." And she doesn't have O, but she was like,
She's good.
I'm good,
right? Because sometimes, once again, I mean,
my dad had it and it wasn't nothing. Like I literally told him, like, I don't think you should be
Right? I don't think
Like, he was going and still working on houses and shit. And I'm like, I don't think you should be, oh, I'm good. I'm saying I'm not worried about you.
Yeah.
But how long before somebody moves in while your COVID ass is in there?
Damn.
But this is your dad or your stepdad?
My dad.
Oh, okay.
My dad don't let, he's like me, he don't let shit stop. If it ain't big, he's not
I
letting
can
nothing
see that.
stop him.
I can see that.
I need that money, I'm going to the money.
Right.
Listen, till death. Unless I'm...
And that wasn't really a big deal for everybody listening because, of course, he renovates houses. So I'm sure somebody didn't move in. It wasn't even on the market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was probably a week after he left before it was even on the market.
Right.
So, but
Way
still,
to try to cover
I had
him
to
after
tell.
you threw him under the bus.
No, but I did have to tell him, like, yeah, I know you don't feel it, but
Right.
do you think you should be
Other people. So
going out? Like,
So Christina said, which...
but he also, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but he also said he doesn't think that was the case.
Got it.
I don't even know if he went to go get tested.
If he actually
you know what I
had it or
mean?
not, or if he
But
just
he
thought
was
he
saying
did.
his job said it's a potential stay home type shit, and they gave him 2
Quarantine.
weeks off,
Got it.
and he just
Yep.
took it.
Yep.
And I took it as, well, if that's the case, you probably shouldn't be doing everything
that's
else.
true.
But if you feel good and they're just saying that's a policy,
Right.
then I understand why you would do that.
Precautionary. Yeah, Alexis had to do it. Even after we caught COVID, one of her coworkers finally caught COVID. And even though she didn't have it again, they were like, everybody 2 weeks off, closing the branch.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we still went and did stuff, I mean, we had our mask on.
My job's nothing like
know.
that. That's
But-
why I gotta be the one to be like, okay, let me cool out,
Yeah.
because they'll never say not to come.
Right.
They'll say, you can send them a positive COVID email, and they'll be like, didn't receive that. Be in on Monday, unless you can send that email back through.
Right. So there's 2 comments. Christina in the Facebook live chat.
Do I know Christina?
Menzo. You know Menzo.
I know her. Ooh,
Yeah,
how are you?
Right. She, that's my girl, man.
Well, damn, you said her name, but
Sorry.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, Menzo.
Everybody is looking her up now.
Sorry, Menzo. Menzo, she's that chick. I love you, Menzo. She's good people. But
we don't got a lot of fans. You won't get a whole bunch of cop shots.
right, you'll be all right. But she said, I think a lot
Just
of
for me and Cliff.
right. Three of them will be for me. 2 will be for Mike. So.
I apologize.
That's all our
Menzo.
fans there.
I apologize.
I had sex with Kate.
But she said, I think a lot of companies found that they save money by sending employees home, was her comment. And
Yeah.
Then Alex, he's actually in our chat.
But that's also why they should be giving stipends for people that are paying extra electricity and
That's
internet
true,
to
yeah.
keep their shit
Well,
up.
I will say our company is doing that.
Yeah, no, fuck y'all. I won't
Right,
say
you
y'all's
do.
name, but I wish y'all would click on a motherfucking video until I get to have a conversation face to face, or mask to mask.
But I agree. If you're working from home, that should be part of. The problem is that if they give you the choice, right? And
Right,
I'm
no.
lucky. I work for a
Yeah,
company
take my stipend.
where they're giving us a choice and giving us a stipend. I feel like if they're giving you the choice, I don't necessarily think they owe you the stipend.
I agree.
So if they're,
That makes sense.
I agree.
If they are giving you the choice to
I
either
agree.
work from home or come in, I don't think they owe you a stipend. If they are not equipped to handle people being in, they do owe you a stipend.
1000% I agree.
I agree.
But we're also dealing with a fucking. No, I'm just playing.
And then,
I'm not.
Correction.
I did have sex with
and then
kids.
Alex in the YouTube chat, he said, "Is it going to be a big deal for people to not get vaccinated?" ? Like, are they going to be considered some sort of outsider or be kept from certain privileges because of their choice to not get vaccinated?
Yeah, I would. In that.
I mean,
To answer that question, I would say yes, but I will also say that the majority of people that don't want to get vaccinated is a lot higher than people are portraying.
I mean, it obviously is because Ohio moved through the phase, basically from 1B to phase 4 so fast because they couldn't fill enough of the vaccines.
Right.
So I agree with your statement that there are a lot more people choosing not to get it than you would believe based on.
And let's be honest. I mean, a lot of people are like me. Like, let's be honest. If I'm being completely honest, I'm leaning towards not getting vaccinated at all. But at the same time, I'm not going to rule it out. You feel what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm going to watch to see what happens with it.
Right.
Because my biggest thing, as we've discussed in the past, and not to make it a racial thing, but a lot of health things that go on are not made with black folks in mind.
I hear you.
The white scientists and people that make them aren't thinking about specific genetics.
Yeah, like
They're
what
thinking about
was the percentage of blacks in basically the test population?
Right, exactly. So that's another thing. I want to see how. Listen, I said it before. My mom got vaccinated. You're my guinea pig right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My mom got vaccinated the other day.
You feel me? I'm checking your temperature. I want to see how you feel. Do you turn flush in the face type shit? But at the same time, that doesn't guarantee that I'm going to get it. That just may make me a little more comfortable to know that my genes may be okay with it.
Right.
But everybody's genes are not the same. Did you hear about the old man whose skin peeled off?
Ooh.
He got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and I don't know much about it. So lawyer lady allegedly.
That's the one-time shot.
Right.
Allegedly.
Right.
The lawyer lady up there in the booth is telling me to say allegedly.
Well, to be honest, I heard that it wasn't even so much alleged because the people said that it did happen from. They confirmed it happened from the vaccine, but what they said was everything they always said. It's a one-off case. But what happened was the dude developed a rash over his whole body. His skin peeled off everywhere. And then he went to the hospital. They said if he didn't go to the hospital, he would have died from that shit. And now thinking about somebody like me that doesn't go to the hospital, that doesn't go to the doctor, that would choose to operate on himself without pain medicine before going to the hospital, what do you think would happen to me?
Right.
Because I'm not going to go. I would have a rash and I would be itching and be like, it'll go away. And then what, die in my sleep?
Nah, I feel like once you started peeling skin off, you'd go.
Once you get to a certain point.
Once my nuts and genitals started peeling, I would be like, oh, I gotta
then
go.
it's too late.
My shit's shedding like a motherfucking snake. I gotta go.
So I see Alex in the chat talking about travel or whatnot. Like,
oh, he hopped over. Thank you, Alex.
I told you that a minute ago.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, you were looking at your...
I'm on both. I'm on Facebook.
I fucks with Alex.
But honestly, here's my expectation. What I would be comfortable with, if using plane travel as an example.
Right.
If you can prove that you're vaccinated, it means you don't have to go through extra steps around a negative COVID test, etc. I think that's fair.
I'm with you.
And if you aren't vaccinated, then you have to go through the extra steps to just prove that you don't have it when you travel.
I am 100% with you. I'm 100% with you. That sounds perfectly reasonable.
And I would say the same thing about retail. Like
that sounds perfectly
reasonable. If you
reasonable.
walk in the store and you show them your card,
but at the same
you don't have
time,
to wear a mask. But if you walk in and you don't have a card, you just have to wear a mask.
But at the same time, I feel like, why does it matter? Like, if you're vaccinated, you're vaccinated. You know what I mean?
It's not for the people that are vaccinated. It's for the people that are not.
Well, it's ironic because the people that are whining are the people that are vaccinated.
I don't necessarily see. First of all, I don't know that I see anybody complaining about any decisions that have been made around the vaccinated versus not vaccinated or different rules or whatever. Like, personally, I haven't seen that.
I mean, I've seen a lot of pro-vaccination coming from already vaccinated people.
Which makes sense.
It definitely makes sense, but that's exactly what
I think maybe
at.
then does it just come down to, is it... I hear what you're saying. Like,
and if you're vaccinated, why do you give a fuck anymore?
Right. And unless there is a situation where you've got loved ones who can't be vaccinated for one reason.
Why are they out with you?
Fair enough.
Why are they out with you? They shouldn't be out. If
I don't
that's how
disagree
you
with you.
feel,
I don't
you know what I
disagree
mean?
with you.
But at this point, it's almost like a mute issue. Like, okay, you're vaccinated, I'm not, so I'm more at risk, right at this point, because you're vaccinated.
Which means I can spread it, but I'm not going to get sick.
Right. As the vaccinated person. Right.
That's a good point.
You feel me? But me as the one that's not vaccinated, if I'm comfortable with the fact that you're vaccinated and I'm not, we both can be without masks. You're the one that is comfortable, right? You're behind the shield. I'm the one that has to worry.
I think that's a good point. I agree with you there.
So it's like, why does it have to be pushed so tough? If you want to be vaccinated, get vaccinated. If you don't, you don't. It's almost like Alex was saying with any other virus. It doesn't matter if this is a worse virus. It's like any other. If you want to get vaccinated, it stops you, so-called. If you roll your dice that way, it stops you from catching it.
Theoretically.
But the way I roll my dice is I don't care. I much rather not put anything in my body that doesn't need to be there if I'm comfortable with the outcome.
I think the question is that is it better for society as a whole, for the U.S. as a whole, to have more people vaccinated or less? And I think that comes back to, if people are sick, what's the impact at this point?
Right. Well, see, here's another thing, and when you put it like that, it makes me think like there's no way that we would ever be able to track it, because when you think about all of, I'm trying to think of a proper way to preface this. When you think about all of like the movement from Mexico and all that,
migration.
and right, all that, like there's no way that you're gonna be able to track what you're saying unless you did something like that. We're tracking through airports and all that, but then you got people like me that I'm not going to your airport.
Well, and at that point, like, what risk are you? Like, honestly, Cliff, how many people are you around in a given week that aren't family?
Y'all, you.
That aren't family.
Right.
Are you saying I'm not family?
Right, you kind of
That's what it sound like.
You.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
Come after me!
Right.
I'm a man! I'm 40!
Right.
Because I don't know if you remember her, but one of Alexis.
But you know what I meant, though.
No, I know what you mean.
I meant.
But what I'm saying is, I don't find you to be a particular risk because you're not going to sporting events, or you're not going to concerts, or you're not going to
that's never
big
been
gatherings of people
from the beginning, though.
Right. And if you want to go to those kind of things, I don't think it's a problem for them to
you know,
require that you're vaccinated.
I'm glad that you put it that way, because that kind of reinforces the way that I feel, right? Because I'm not the kind of person that's around a whole bunch of people, so I'll be damned if anybody forces anything on me.
And I understand.
And then you have to understand this is that everybody.
Now, for me, where I'm coaching and kids can't get vaccinated,
you have to, right? And that makes sense. But for me, the way that I look at it is, at least from my perspective, is there's a lot of people that feel that way.
Yeah.
And if you look at vaccines in a negative light, which I'm not saying that I do in reference to all vaccines, but vaccines in general don't get with. So what I'm saying is, when you look at vaccines at a negative light and you're already somebody that's not already around people, you're not about to force me to death.
No.
You know what I mean?
And
if that is the case,
I do think that vaccines generally,
for the most part, I agree, they help. For the most part,
are positive and are a choice. What I will say is, I get and I support the, I don't want to call it forced, but the suggested vaccination to let like children go to school together, especially diseases that are especially impactful to children, like polio, like smallpox, like measles, mumps, rubella.
Well, see, I trust shit like that because it's an established,
it's been around for a while,
right? And it's been tracked. This, however, has not. And like I said, I'm not necessarily worried about myself, but as we've also talked about on this podcast, other than me and Karma, there's no other Jordan Jennings maybe in this whole other world. So how do I know if I want a boy that one boy may be fucked up and not last because I chose to get a vaccine?
So here's my question. There is not currently a COVID vaccine for kids. COVID also doesn't seem to hit kids as hard.
It doesn't.
I'm not saying that there isn't that there hasn't been COVID deaths or COVID related deaths for
And I understand
kids.
you have to say that for the pod. I get that.
But if they were to, what if the situation were, and let me explain it, and then you guys tell me kind of what your perspective is, what you would do for your kids. What if they said that in order to go back to school in the fall full time, and let's the assumption here is the premise is that there is a kids version of the vaccine.
That's tough.
Kids version of the vaccine. In order to go back to school full time in the fall, your kid has to have the vaccine, or you have the choice. Your kid either has to be vaccinated, or they have to wear a mask while they're at school.
Oh, you're saying that even if they choose not to go...
It's an either or. It's an either or. In order to attend the school, you either have to be vaccinated or you have to wear a mask.
Well, I think that for me that depends on what's going on, like Cliff said.
See, that's a little rougher. You know what I mean? Just for the simple fact that for somebody like me with the child that I have, I wouldn't solely put that in their hands to make that decision.
I'm not saying it's the kid's call. I'm saying it's a parent's call. As a parent...
Well, see, here's the thing, though. But by saying you have the choice to either be vaccinated or wear a mask, that ends up putting it on the child. You know what I mean? Because the child has to go to school with that mask.
That's true.
And eventually your kid's going to be like, I'm fucking sick of wearing this mask and all my friends are cool. Why can't I just get vaccinated? But
At which point Cliff will just make his own vaccine card for Karma. But
let's keep it a buck. Let's keep
right
it a
now,
buck.
this shit is easy as fuck to forge.
And that's not. And let's be 100. That's not even an allegedly. If that's what it took, that's what it took to make my baby happy. But what I'm getting at by that is you're at that point even still putting something in place like wearing a mask. That's taking the control out of the parent's hands, right? Because the parent doesn't have to go to school with that mask on.
No.
That child does.
Oh.
Now the child's not thinking about, if I take this mask off, how at risk am I? And if I'm being honest as a parent, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't want to wear it, don't wear it. But that also doesn't mean that you're going to get the shot either.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is protection of my family. Now, we clearly know that it reacts off of different genetics.
True.
So who is going to be the guinea pig to test this out? Now, if it was just me and my daughter and it was about my daughter thriving in this world, I guess I gotta be the guinea pig. But when it comes down to it, I'm not gonna, and I don't think you should either until we know more information.
Yeah.
I don't care if your mom's mixed and you got more white than I had in me. Doesn't mean that you don't still have more genes of mine than hers.
Yeah.
So let's hold off and see how this works before we start jumping into because let's be honest, like it's the entire world is built off of jumping in the boat with other people.
Yeah.
That was the Titanic.
We talked about that, yeah.
The Titanic sinking, so let me jump in this boat with you, not knowing that my weight will sink it.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So I don't have time to be allowing. This isn't about anyone else's life. This is about mine and the people I choose to protect. So until I see that it affects everyone equally and not just this person or on some weird shit and this person's fine, like, nah.
Yeah. No,
it's not worth it.
I got you.
Maybe I want grandbabies. I never had a boy. Maybe I want my daughter to have a boy for me.
Right.
I don't want you getting vaccinated if that means you won't be able to reproduce. That was the whole plot of the show on Amazon.
Yeah, the Utopia.
Mr. Rabbit. I
Yep.
said Jeff Bezos is Mr. Rabbit. I'm still not convinced he's not. You feel what I'm saying? I cannot allow that to happen at this moment until I get more information.
All right.
And my daughter, you're me. You're smart. You'll thrive working from home, or you'll thrive with your classmates.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter either way. The classmates that don't care come over your house anyway. Right? So that lets you know who's at least still going to be in your corner if you choose not to get vaccinated.
All right.
I don't know. That's just me. That's just me. And at the same time, me and my child's mother are not together, so that is a 50 of the other 50.
Right.
But it's a 60 of the other 40.
Minus 30. Because right there is but in your case that's what the issue is like, as you said, is you know what you want and what you feel like is right. But
Right.
the other person says it's like,
that's why I say a 60
Right.
of the other 40.
right.
Malcolm
The
talking
six-
to
is
the
it your
mic.
60 you're saying?
Malcolm talking to the
Sorry,
mic.
is it your 60 you're saying?
No, that's her 60.
Okay, that's what I wanted to. Right.
Because she has
And that's the tough part.
custody.
When you're not.
You know what I mean?
When you're co-parenting.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my 40 is a different 40 than somebody else's 40.
Right. Well, that's just the art of.
My 40 holds more weight than somebody else's 50. I'm just keeping it a buck.
Hey.
You know who I would love to have on the podcast at some point?
Michelle.
Michelle.
I don't even know if she. Cliff knows, obviously. Y'all know.
She
better than
would
me.
if I asked her.
I think she would. Too.
I mean, as far as
Michelle and I always got along. So.
Right.
Oh yeah, like she's cool. Like I'm never had no.
Fuck that bitch. No, I'm just playing.
Don't say that about her.
Nah, fuck her.
I love everybody.
Love everybody.
So Alex has said it's seeming like the choice is being diminished, especially with this issue, which leads him to think that what else is coming. Leads him to think what else is coming that is going to be choiceless.
Well, they're coming for your guns. They're coming for everything else. No, like.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, is that, let's be honest, Alex, there's a lot of people like me that karma can't come over for some months because they're forcing the vaccine on people and they're about to take guns.
That's what I had heard too, allegedly.
No, I put that in air quotes because I'm saying I'm the kind of guy, come do it.
Right.
Right.
If I think that
that's
you
that whole I wish a motherfucker would.
Period. If I think that by you taking my guns, you're taking my life.
Right.
Or if I think by you injecting me with that poison, you're taking my life, I will fight with my life to the very end of my life. And anybody you choose to come implement that shot or taking my guns away better be heavily armed as well. Because that's Custard's last stand.
I'm not the only one who's dying here.
That's Custard's last stand.
Right, yeah.
And I'm sure that there are a lot of people that think they feel that way, but quite don't. But there's still a lot of people that actually do feel like me.
Right, I'm sure there are.
Like I say it all the time, I'm not dying to stay in this motherfucker. So if y'all are giving me my birthday card, my invitation to wherever the next life takes me, I'll take it.
You always say you're going out in the, what do you say, blazing flames?
You only die once, and I'm not worried whether I go fast, slow, whatever the case. Let me experience what I'm meant to experience. But I damn sure ain't about to be the guy that's you knocking on my door like we coming for your guns, and I'm like, Here's my arm, and here are my weapons. Take what you need.
Right. No, and honestly, we are so far away from that as a country still that like I don't think that that's a concern.
I don't think it's real either. But
I mean, the flip side is that there are plenty of Democrats that are just as much in the NRA's pockets as the majority of the GOP.
Right.
You'll never pass any meaningful reform there. Do I actually think that there should be some level of reform?
But didn't I tell you
Probably,
this as well?
But
I said you better help and get what you want right now, because once Biden gets in office, you know what's about to happen.
Well, they're going to try to lock down shit, but honestly, everything that's been talked about so far has been like better background checks. Like,
I agree with all that. I agree with all that. But see, that's what.
If you've been locked up in a mental hospital, maybe
though.
you shouldn't have a firearm.
That doesn't mean anything, because most of the people that are buying the firearms that they're worried about, the assault weapons is what they call them.
Yeah.
They're not registered. You
I
feel
think
what I'm
there's
saying?
a fair amount that are.
They're not registered to the people. Now, yeah, of course, the one guy that goes crazy and takes his guns into the situation.
Well, and what we found is that they are registered when those situations have happened.
Right, because that's the one that's like the Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Oh, we got you now. And we can use this to say that, see, they are registered as well.
Well, wasn't that
but
the
what
whole
about
thing?
all the other ones,
Wasn't
though?
that the whole thing in Colorado? Was that the most recent mass shooting in Colorado? Like, they brought up an assault weapon ban, and then they found out it was a pistol.
The supermarket.
Right, and then they found out it was a pistol that he used to commit it. Like,
it does. All I'm saying is, when I'm speaking of shit like that,
it's always like the lone white guy, right?
Well,
not always.
Hold on. It was you and I that had this conversation.
Other than the DC sniper.
It was you and I. So, Mike, did you hear about the Polaris incidents that were going on at the Polaris Mall? So there was 2 shootings in the Polaris Mall within a month.
We talked about that?
We talked about that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the next point I'm going to
get.
I
remember what I said to you.
Right. So Cliff, and this is true. I want to see what you think, Mike. Cliff has said I would be more, in a sense, afraid of a white man, per se, coming in with the gun, because it's anybody's fair game, rather than a black person. Usually it's...
Because it's usually a
targeted. Absolutely.
Targeted. So
I have said that. So
that's scary.
Before the pandemic, Shar and I went to it was like Safe Conversations About Race, like the Bexley Public Library hosted it.
I might want to go next time.
That's nice though. Yeah, that's good to.
No, it was good. And like there were like small group kind of breakout sessions, and I basically like trying to ease the group or whatever. I'm like, I understand y'all got a reason to be much more afraid of me than I do to be of you. Because if somebody's going to come in here and shoot up the whole joint, it ain't somebody that looks like you. Right. It's someone that looks like me. Like,
somebody that looks like you or me is coming for that
for one motherfucker.
Right. I'm sorry if I hit anybody else. My shot's not.
You might get collateral damage, but that's not. You're not aiming to get multiple people.
Right.
And so, like, that's a consistent thing at this point. And I saw a great social media post, and I don't remember who said it, but it was basically the fact that, like, there are plenty of female gun owners that don't go out and commit mass shootings.
Right.
That's true.
Men, get your shit together. Like, especially white men, get your shit together.
Yeah.
Well, that's 100% correct.
And I completely understand the street justice. They
like
kill one of mine, I kill one of theirs.
Of a reason to do that than men.
But that's why.
And I would say black men have more of a reason to do it, or black women have more of a reason to do it than white men do. And guess what? They're not out there committing like mass shootings.
To that point, in a similar instance, this is why I didn't mind, and I don't mind, there being a woman vice president. Because she's going to go into it, no matter the background of what we talked about. I know you said you had your...
Fuck that bitch.
I love you, Kamala.
Don't talk about Kamala.
Fuck
right. Kamala, Mrs. Harris.
She's
My
an
whole point is,
ex-DA,
Young
dude.
Dro,
You can't,
fuck that
you
dude.
can't, you can't trust the DA.
I'm hoping she goes into meetings with more sense and more understanding.
Oh, you know she will.
Rather
now,
than more.
Now, don't get me wrong. When I say shit like "fuck that bitch,"
What's up, Adrian?
I mean it. Let's be real. I mean that shit. Fuck that bitch. But at the same time, I know that it's still a benefit to have her in the position that she's in.
Oh, no doubt. And you already know, like, my prediction for all of this is
But fuck that bitch.
either at the
I
midterms
love you.
or in his last year, Biden will resign and Kamala Harris will become the first
You think he'll step down?
female president.
Kamala
not
Harris
gonna-
will become the first female president.
I think that's possible, but I don't think it's going to be because he steps down. I think it's just because he served his term and she's going to be next up to run. If that were to be the case,
I can
don't.
see that.
I don't
I would
think
much
Biden's
rather it be
gonna,
that.
Right. I don't think
I
Biden's
would
gonna
rather
step
it be
down.
that, but part of me, I don't know.
Sleepy Joe is awake. When he said it, listen.
I don't know. Did you see that smile he threw at everybody in that last little
listen
presser he did? That seemed real robotic.
I don't care about the smile.
shit.
Listen,
They ain't gonna let Kamala in.
So Joe Biden's been in for what? Almost 90 days. Almost 90
Something like
days,
that.
right? So far, everything that he said, or most of it that he said he's gonna do, he's done pretty quickly. I'm gonna get you guys paid. I sure got my 2 stimulus checks.
But that was already in.
But he had to help them in.
He
right?
did have to sign it.
A
He did
little
have to
bit.
push it forward.
He had to mediate the
It
situation.
wasn't necessarily him. It was the fact that Dems won the Senate with
Well, right.
the Georgia runoff.
Well, right.
Right.
But what I'm saying is,
Shout outs to Stacey Abrams.
I'm not too mad at the current president at the moment. There's not much that I could say where I'm like, yeah, it's just. So I'm content right now. Is what I'm saying.
So we're just saying that.
I like Sleepy Joe. And I don't think he's gonna resign. Is what I'm saying. Back to Mike's point.
Well, let me ask you this.
I like
and
him.
I'm not saying. Listen. I'm not on either side. This is just a neutral question.
Yeah.
But do you remember where we were 90 days into Trump's?
Yeah, we already had the Muslim ban. We already had
The border
travel
lockdown.
restriction, the border restrictions.
Right, it was a lot going on. I was already not happy.
90 days into Trump's?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a lot more. He came in there. Hey,
You're talking about the border lockdown as far as Mexico.
yeah, like he had the wall. He had the wall being built. He had the wall.
Well,
was
he
starting.
was organizing.
Starting.
to
Yeah,
get
he was
the
getting
wall
that process going.
Because I'm gonna be a buck. The last thing that I remember, like of Trump first getting in, was Jello.
Leangelo.
Still in the
In
glasses
China?
in China.
I mean,
You know
that's
what
one of
I'm
the.
saying?
But listen, that
Send them back.
that
bring
was
them back.
that was for show. That was for show.
But all I'm saying is, and let's be honest, we're in a lot more volatile times now with Biden in the first 90 than Trump in the first
right.
90.
Well,
I
no,
will say
because
that.
Trump's whole mission was to destabilize the U.S.
And before Trump left, let's not
I'll
not
agree.
forget the U.S. Capitol riot that he helped enforce.
No, he incited it.
He incited it. So that just shows me. So I'll say this. My wife always asks me this, and we just kind of one of our jokes.
He incited it, but he didn't carry it out.
No,
he
because
didn't
if
carry
he had
it out,
actually,
but-
if he actually held the weight that he thought he did, he would still be president.
Right. Well, that goes back
Or
to
not even president.
But
He
Cliff-
would be Lord
but
Emperor or
Cliff-
whatever the fuck he wanted the title.
Cliff, that goes back to the Charles Manson situation. He didn't carry out, they said, any of the, from what I believe, I understood, any of the acts of the stuff that was going on back then. But he incited it, and they followed, he got charged too. So that's my point to what you said as far as...
That's
that's-
more on the
that's-
Waco front, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's also like where you get into like Rico and motherfuckers and shit like that. Like, it's funny how it always works in a situation where motherfuckers have lesser than motherfuckers have more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could argue the same argument about Wall Street.
No
You
doubt.
know what I'm saying? And that would eliminate 75% of the people that are currently holding stocks in Wall Street.
Agreed.
Not to mention what they did to Martha Stewart over just finding a insight and you got people in Wall Street doing what they're doing currently. You feel what I'm
but
saying?
that's also why you see major lawsuits coming up from people like Elizabeth Warren. Like, why is Robinhood basically, the Robinhood app, basically shutting down trading on something like GameStop because Wall Street told them to? You know what I mean? Like, either completely deregulate or...
That's also why Elizabeth Warren didn't make it into the Eastern Conference Finals.
I hear what you're saying.
You
on
feel
that
what I'm
front.
saying? Like, once you disrupt the natural swing of things, you're out of there.
But that's the whole... I mean, that's what the right is saying right now about Biden. Biden is a Trojan horse for the radical left. Which I don't
see
think
that.
he is.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that. I see him being the exact person that you would put in to make it seem like
somebody that is so far middle that you can't disagree with him, which was the whole reason he won. He was so far middle that you could vote for him.
It was something you hadn't seen before.
Right.
I guess that makes sense.
And he was so real. People were like, "Oh, yeah, that's how we been feeling," you know, and they went with it.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But I don't remember the bigger picture that we were even talking
Ain't no
about.
bigger picture. The bigger picture is
What was the Kamala thing? Mike had mentioned.
Fuck Kamala and Ted Cruz.
I love Kamala. Ted Cruz, I've heard of that name. I don't think just because I've heard it, I believe in negative lights. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm a fan. But anyways, we can get off the politics. I know everybody hates politics. Hate politics. But that brings me. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. I had it and then lost it. Had it then I lost it. What was it?
Was it in reference to anybody in there?
No. One of my boys, Adrian, he said he won. He said he won because he wasn't progressive. Talking about Trump. I don't know what he means.
No. I know exactly what he means, but I mean, I wouldn't quite say progressive. I would say he won because he was the what's the word I'm looking for? I like the black sheep, but he was completely different from everything that we've had before. That's the only reason why he won.
We talking about Joe still?
No, talking about Trump.
Okay.
He won because he was on.
He was so far out of left field that
right, and the country.
And people wanted something different.
And I agree. We did need it. We did need it, even if it was Trump. We needed that shit.
Right. I would have preferred it to be somebody like The Rock, but yes. Although you could argue that Reagan was that.
Reagan was The Rock?
That Reagan was a TV star / personality before he was president.
Oh.
I can see.
Adrian said Biden won on a non-progressive platform, unlike Bernie.
I agree.
Oh, okay. I see what he said.
My bad, Adrian. My bad, bro.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
No, he won on being literally the most centrist you could possibly fucking be. And then as the campaign went on, he started inching left just to secure
Cory Booker
Bernie
2024.
bros.
Never.
I'm just playing.
Nah, I did like him at first, but he reminds me of. It looks like Richard Jefferson.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see that a bit.
But no, there was a good point that I was gonna make up about something, and it came to me not. Again, I lost it. I was trying to get back to it, but anyway.
Was it about politics?
No, this wasn't about. I don't remember what it was. It's gonna bug me, but I had it, and
Well, let's move off of politics.
Yeah, let's move off.
Well, we're at 2.5 hours,
right.
so I'm willing for us to go a little bit longer, but I do just.
Nah, we can wrap.
Yeah, Mike's got the early game in the morning.
Well, it's not even early, so like I said, we can go a little bit longer, but I just.
Yeah,
do we want to switch off of politics?
No, for sure.
We'll switch off of politics, but what I will say to wrap up our previous conversation, because I know we started with the vaccine and all that, is I was listening to the Flagrant 2 podcast, and they had a professional. I don't know what the word was. But basically, he readjusted your mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And he was basically saying that one of the biggest issues that we're having right now is, like, from the COVID and all that, is fear. He said fear weakens your immune system.
Okay.
So the more you fear something, the more you expect for that something to happen, which allows
basically
your
letting
immune
it get
system
to a psychosomatic point where
Right.
if you fear something enough, you will make yourself sick.
Right. And another thing that he said that was kind of, I won't say linked, it was completely on the polar opposite, but it was linked to the two. He said that the confidence. Hold up. What's it called when you know something? Competence.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence. Evolution.
Okay.
So there's
Say
an
more.
evolution to where confidence, like, so basically everybody struggles with having confidence about shit. But if you're competent at one thing, anything that gives you confidence in that one thing, which gives you
The confidence to try something
to
else.
get competence in something else, which increases your confidence. So it all, I didn't write down how, but it all equated back to the fear weakens your immune system thing.
Okay.
Because, I mean, let's be honest, if you're not confident about something, whether it even be as confident as I am as not getting a vaccine till I get more information.
Yeah.
Like, I literally have, and I'm not saying it works, or
But-
it may,
but
but I
to-
literally have confidence to the point of saying I'm not worried about this until I know about that, which
And I-
leads me to not care about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get the whole idea of competence instills confidence. Like, for me, I was always a relatively strong student, but, like, I didn't have confidence in anything I did until I started playing football. And I
It was
proved
the
that I was
opposite for me.
competence for me.
That's-
Like, that was a competence for me.
You know
and
what?
then I
That's
got more
funny.
confident and more confident. And then I have gotten to the point in my career where I'm like, I don't have to know about a subject to be a good leader in the subject, because I know that I can learn what I need to know, and I know people well enough
That's a
to
good
make
wrap-up.
progress.
That's a good wrap up, because that, and I know we say it a lot, but I think that's why we are as close as we are.
Yeah.
Because I'm the exact opposite, where I wasn't confident in academics until I was confident in sports, and
I
then I
gotcha.
was like, yeah, nobody can beat me at that either, and I'll show you. And then that's when it was like, oh, I know just as much as anybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the fact of me knowing. I knew I was smart, but I didn't know how to use my intelligence until I had that sport to let me know you gotta beat them into submission the same way.
Absolutely.
So that's funny because I agree. Sports definitely helped
I would have never
shaped me in a lot of ways.
equated it the same way.
Yeah, and I know you're not an anime fan, but this definitely
Never seen an episode of Dragon Ball.
motivates me. Love it
Never seen an episode.
because I'm Vegeta all the way. Basically,
that what you're saying to me is you're a pussy. No, I'm just
listen.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Basically, the moral of the story with the show is just rising to the occasion every time, no matter what the odds are.
Right.
And I can appreciate that because I felt like the past couple of years I've been knocked down more often than I'm used to, and I've had to try to figure out how do I, I mean, we talk about it, but you know what I'm saying? How do I?
And I
rise
don't
to
mean
the
to cut
occasion?
you off. I don't want to cut you off by no means. But that's the one thing that I can say is, well, Pops might have fucked up a lot.
Right.
But he did not fuck up when it comes to that. When letting me know what I was capable of. You know what I mean?
No, I got you on that.
Like, almost to a point that most people will be like, I don't think you should do that. But it made a lot of sense. All the things that everybody said he did wrong are the exact things that I specifically praise him for. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, when I was going through it, I remember crying and not wanting to do it again. But the fact that it's done now and it's over, and if I could have went through life without it, I'd feel lesser than.
I gotcha.
But I honestly feel like from what I've went through with him, there's not really much that I can say I'm not prepared or capable to handle. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's something that I wouldn't have gotten from academics alone.
That's one of those things that as you're going through it, you can't necessarily appreciate it for what it is until after the fact.
I hated it. And then when I got older, I was like, oh, I see. I see exactly why.
Right.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And now I am the way that I am. Maybe very hard-headed, maybe very headstrong, but I definitely turn my gears when I feel like that doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say no.
Not afraid to speak up to it.
I won't. You know what I mean? And I don't think that came from anybody but him.
That makes sense.
Confidence. Competence, confidence, rotation.
There you go. All right. Well, I am going to wrap us up here. This has been a wonderful episode of Do Fools Agree. If you are interested in hearing more from the crew here from the Foolproof Entertainment Network, you've got the Hit the Showers podcast, which will be dropping tomorrow.
Yeah.
Talking about the NFL, MMA, boxing, something along those lines. You've got the Mind and Body Understanding podcast with Dr. Jeff Pharion. That drops 2 or 3 times a month. We're up to episode, I think, 6 or 7 there. So check that out. You can find all of this out on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts by searching for Foolproof Entertainment Network, and all 3 shows will pop up. With all that being said, Cliff, Malcolm, what you got to take us out?
I'll just say, as we previously stated this podcast, if you are interested in being a guest at all, foolproofentertainment@gmail.com. Definitely send an email. But we've
gotten a couple already. I'll throw that out there.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good.
Lester and Shelby both hitting us up.
That's good. But for all those that just listen and may want to be involved, but not have the what's the word? The courage.
The competence.
The confidence or competence.
All that. I like that. Just remember little Cliff back in the day that should have hopped up and
got them ladies.
Yeah. And got his little game right in the front row of the movie theater. If you don't take your shot, not only could you miss out, it could be a detriment to your future existence.
Isn't that the whole Jordan line?
Yeah, you miss you
miss every shot you don't take.
Yeah.
Well, that means something because I guess Jordan blood. So.
and when Cliff said little Cliff, he means present Cliff as well, because I don't believe. I'm just playing.
For all those, except for Katie, correction. But love everybody, and if you ain't good, be good at it.
Yep. As always, I appreciate Mike and Cliff having me on. Another great episode of Do Fools Agree. Never a dull conversation ever. I love it. But like y'all said, please everyone like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, let people know that, hey, we have this podcast and several shows. If you want to be a guest, as Cliff said, and Mike said, the email address one more time, Foolproof, all one word, right? Foolproof Entertainment @gmail.com.
What
that is correct.
Email address you ever know has spaces in it?
Some have underscores, some have different numerical things. I've seen some unique emails.
But not us. Foolproofentertainment@gmail.com. I am Michael Reggie, as always. Thank you for joining us tonight, and peace out, fools.
Peace out,
appreciate
everybody.
all of y'all.
And love your mothers.
The king will be back. You're not gonna throw that in.
Psych, nah.
Listen, that was great. I think that was good. Listen, we got a lot of.